Chapter 489, The Pitiful Peacock. 2. Head butler, let's continue. White Dawn ignored the white tiger's fussing and looked at the head butler. Okay. The head butler was speechless. This was too easy. The two beasts were done without him even needing to do anything. Boss, where are we going? The injured white tiger asked curiously. Go and continue expanding our territory. Do you see those 3 mountains? My master said he wants to turn them all into our territory. White Dawn lay on the white tiger's head and said condescendingly, Oh, that's easy. Hee boss, those 2 bears are my good friends. They will naturally give up their territory obediently as long as I tell them to. The white tiger said confidently, Are you confident? White Dawn asked softly, wondering if he should fight the 2 bears again. However, the defense of the big stupid bears was very abnormal. Yes, they are indebted to me, so they will definitely listen to me as long as I say it, the white tiger explained. All right, I'll leave it to you. White Dawn patted the white tiger's head with its little paw. No problem. The white tiger agreed very quickly. He didn't expect to have the chance to render meritorious service immediately after acknowledging a boss. Everyone and the beasts came to the foot of the 2 neighboring mountains together. This was the territory of the 2 bears that were transcendent divine beasts. They chose the mountains next to each other because they were biological brothers. After reaching the foot of the mountain, the white tiger immediately shouted at the top of its lungs, Big Harry, Little Harry, welcome your guests. Lung Qingtian and the others couldn't help but be at a loss for words when they heard the white tiger's words. However, before they could let their imagination run wild, they heard a loud dong. Don't sound coming from the mountains like the earth was shaking. Then 2 earth-yellow giant bears more than 10 meters tall ran out of the 2 mountains. Big White, why are you here? One of the giant bears asked honestly. Of course I came to find you for something, the white tiger said. What is it? Tell us quickly so we can go back to sleep, another bear said. It's like this. My boss master has his eyes on your territory, so can you give it up? The white tiger asked nicely. Give up? Then where are we going? The giant bear that spoke first couldn't help asking. It was not angry at the white tiger's words, but it was very distressed because if it gave up the territory it occupied, then the brothers would have nowhere to go. You can be together with me. Admit my boss as your boss, the white tiger said after some thought. Your boss? Who is it? The 2 bears lowered their heads curiously and looked down at the white tiger. I'm its boss, White Dawn said lazily. Ugh. The 2 giant bears were stunned and then looked at the white tiger in disbelief. Big White, you've fallen. How can you recognize a cat as your boss? Fuck, open your bear eyes wide and see clearly. How can I be a cat? White Dawn roared furiously. It was really depressed. It was fine if humans treated him like a cat, but now even beasts treated it like a cat. Could it be that they couldn't feel the might of his bloodline? I observed carefully. You are a cat no matter how I look at you. The 2 bears looked at White Dawn carefully and said with certainty, Ha, ha. Feng Zhan roared with exaggerated laughter and kept pointing its little wings at White Dawn as if it wanted to say something. Damn it, you're courting death. White Dawn was angry. Moreover, its archenemy was laughing at it from the side, so its anger instantly multiplied. Boss, calm down. They didn't do it on purpose. The white tiger hurriedly pleaded, and its heart was racing. In fact, when it first saw Big Brother, it also thought that Big Brother was a kitty. At that time, it was very puzzled because it clearly heard an unfamiliar tiger roar. Later on, after it was beaten up by Big Brother and the little red bird, it suddenly realized that boo-hoo. It was because it was too inexperienced. These 2 were not beasts it could offend. I won't take issue with these 2 big stupid bears on your account this time. I won't let them off easily if there's a next time. White Dawn said indifferently as it gently raised its eyelids. Thank you, boss. The white tiger was very happy. It didn't expect the boss to give it so much face. Big Harry, Little Harry, don't spout nonsense. My boss is very powerful. The white tiger quickly said to its 2 friends after thanking White Dawn. Phew, that was close. Really? The 2 bears were skeptical, not realizing that they almost lost their lives just now. Don't you even believe my words? Do you think I will lie to you? The white tiger roared, almost on fire from anxiety in its heart. Hey, calm down. Come, I'll let you eat this. Old Man Zao advised with a smile. He took out 2 pieces of corn and stuffed them into the 2 giant bears' palms. What is this? Big Harry and Little Harry's huge bear faces were full of question marks as they asked in puzzlement. This is your favorite food, corn? Old Man Zao said hurriedly. Back in the Lingfeng continent, he seemed to have heard from the girl that bears liked to eat corn the most. Why didn't these 2 seem to know each other? In fact, the 2 bears really didn't know it because they had never seen it, let alone eaten it. However, the unique fragrance of the corn kept tempting their taste buds. After a while, Big Harry and Little Harry said, "It smells pretty good." Of course it's good. This is one of my favorite foods. Try it quickly and see if it tastes the same as what you've eaten before, Old Man Zao said expectantly, his shrewd little eyes staring intently at the 2 bears. Big Harry and Little Harry hesitated, not knowing whether they should eat it or not. However, the smell was really tempting. The 2 butlers were a little speechless at Old Man Zao's behavior. Could this old man be thinking of seducing the 2 bears with those 2 stalks of corn? How was that possible? Neither of them believed that the 2 stalks of corn would be so attractive. However, they knew after a while that they were wrong. They were too ignorant. There were really beasts in this world who would give up their territory for 2 stalks of corn. Chapter 490. The Pitiful Peacock. 3. In the end, the 2 hairy bears couldn't resist the temptation of the fragrance of the corn. They ate the corn in their paws and became a captive of the corn. If we give up our territory and follow you in the future, can you give us a piece of corn every day? After a long while, the 2 bears hesitantly stated their conditions and strongly requested to follow Old Man Zao. No problem. Corn. You can eat as much as you want, Old Man Zao said happily. These 2 lackeys were not bad. He could use them as cushions when he was tired. Then we're willing to give you our territory. They finally relented and bowed down for corn. Moreover, they became Old Man Zao's free fighter. Big Harry, Little Harry, you guys really hurt my heart. The white tiger was depressed and complained shamelessly. Boo! It even boasted in front of its boss that as long as it showed up, they would definitely give up their territory. Unfortunately, it said so much that its mouth was dry. It was actually not as useful as the 2 corn that Old Man Zao took out. Boo! It hurt its self-esteem. Big White, didn't we agree? They were puzzled. Didn't Big White bring these people here for their territory? What was there to be sad about now that they had agreed? It was really incomprehensible. You didn't agree because of me, the white tiger said, very displeased. It has something to do with you too. They coaxed and sighed in their hearts together. Great White, of course you contributed. If you didn't bring us here, we would have started fighting directly, Old Man Zao coaxed tactfully. In that case, my contribution is quite big, huh? The white tiger was a little smug. Oh! White Dawn narrowed his eyes and hummed with slight displeasure. Boss, we can go to the next mountain. The white tiger said hurriedly, its little heart trembling. Head butler, are we still continuing today? White Dawn asked softly. His master had given him 3 days, and now he was only short of the last mountain. Let's continue. The head butler wiped the cold sweat off his forehead. They hadn't even arrived for half a day, but they had already taken over 3 mountains. Alas! How efficient! Then let's go. White Dawn said. The last mountain was a little far away. Everyone and the beasts walked for about an hour and circled around before they finally arrived at the foot of the mountain. Bears. What kind of beast is the owner of this mountain? Old Man Zao asked curiously. The mountain in front of him was the smallest among the 5 surrounding mountains, so he guessed that the owner of this mountain probably wouldn't be a beast that was too big. It seems to be a bird. Big Harry looked at Feng Zhan and said with uncertainty. It was not very familiar with the beasts in the mountain. Damn bird, did you hear that? They are your kind. White Dawn raised its eyes provocatively. Who said that birds are my kind? Stupid cat with no common sense. Feng Zhan retorted. The two beasts were ready to start fighting again. However, this time, it disappointed those who wanted to watch the commotion because Feng Zhan and White Dawn ignored each other after saying that. We have to think of a way to lure the owner of this place out, the head butler suddenly said. However, his words quickly received the looks of disdain from everyone and the beasts because everyone and the beasts knew that what he said was useless. Head butler, I'll leave this mission to you. Old man Zhao patted the head butler on the shoulder as though he was entrusting him with an important task. All right then, the main butler said helplessly. He took a few steps closer to the foot of the mountain, then released all his aura, and released a stream of mystic energy halfway up the mountain. His provocative behavior quickly worked. In the blink of an eye, a beautiful bird covered in 5-colored light jumped out of the mountain. Everyone looked carefully and realized that it was a peacock. This peacock was about 2 meters tall, had exquisite feathers, and was abnormally beautiful. Its glass-like eyes were staring coldly at the butler. You and I have always respected our boundaries. Instead of staying in your bandit's lair, you actually came to provoke me. You really deserve to die. The peacock said with abnormal anger, its glass-like eyes seeming to spit fire. You recognize me? The head butler said foolishly. He thought these beasts only liked to sleep. He didn't expect this peacock to recognize him. You are the stupidest and most foolish bandit I have ever seen. Which beast in these mountains doesn't know you? The peacock said nonchalantly. The head butler was depressed. He didn't expect himself to be so famous. Head butler, I didn't expect you to be so famous. Old man Zhao laughed hysterically. The others and beasts also grinned happily, but they were not as exaggerated as Old man Zhao. Old man Feng, your beast has a partner now. After laughing enough, Old man Zhao patted the Feng family's first elder's shoulder affectionately. Okay, Sparrow Feather, come out. First elder Feng nodded and then summoned his beast. Peacock-type beasts were very rare. Hee, Sparrow Feather. Your master found you a wife. Old man Zhao looked at Sparrow Feather that was about the same size as the peacock and smiled evilly. He actually began to make them a couple out of boredom. Damn old man, damn it. Tell me again, who is the wife? The peacock roared furiously when it heard Old man Zhao's words. It was originally quite happy to see its own kind, but Old man Zhao's words drove it crazy. You're a female. You have to be gentler. Otherwise, our Sparrow Feather won't like you, Old man Zhao said earnestly without any doubts. Sparrow Feather was speechless. Damn it, I'm a male, you're the wife. The incomparably beautiful peacock was so angry that its entire body was on fire. However, its good upbringing still made it resist the urge to tear this stinky old man apart. Chapter 491. The Pitiful Peacock 4. Are you sure? Old man Zhao asked doubtfully, feeling a little disappointed. Alas, such a beautiful bird was actually a male. This was too shocking. Nonsense. Don't tell me I don't know my own gender. The beautiful peacock roared uncontrollably. Calm down, calm down. What about you? Old man Zhao turned his gaze to Sparrow Feather and asked expectantly. He really wanted to send these two beautiful birds to mate. I'm a male too, Sparrow Feather said quickly. Oh, actually, 2 males are all right too. Old man Zhao smiled wretchedly as he sized up the 2 equally beautiful peacocks. He deliberately left half of his sentence hanging. No. Tell me, what are you doing here? The beautiful peacock's eyes widened as it asked fiercely. We've taken a liking to your mountain. I don't know. The peacock interrupted Old man Zhao before he could finish. If I give you this mountain, can you scram as far away as possible? The beautiful peacock looked at Old man Zhao with disdain. It really hated this old man to death now. If it weren't for the fact that the other party had the advantage in numbers, it would definitely teach this damn old man a lesson. You despise me? Boo. I'm so sad. Old man Zhao was aggrieved, and his eyes were red. Are you really willing to give up the mountain to us? The head butler asked in disbelief, ignoring old man Zhao's act of pity. What happened today? Why were these beasts so easygoing? Yes, I'll give it to you, the beautiful peacock said. It was not stupid. These people were obviously determined to win. If they were to fight, it would definitely not be their match. So what was the point of fighting? It was not like it had nothing better to do. After speaking, it flew in preparation to leave this place. Unfortunately, it was knocked unconscious by Feng Zhan before it could fly too high. I'll be my underling from now on. Feng Zhan flapped her little wings and said nonchalantly. The main butler broke out in cold sweat again. This little red bird was really barbaric. It actually knocked out this 2-meter-tall giant bird. Amazing! Carry it for me. We're going back to the village. Feng Zhan ordered the 2 butlers. Yes, the 2 butlers answered obediently. In this way, the main group returned to the stockade with great fanfare after completing the mission. The 2 butlers resigned themselves to fate and carried the tragic peacock, following behind everyone. After successfully taking the other 4 mountains into their possession, the butler no longer dared to underestimate these beasts. They might look cute and harmless on the surface, but in fact, none of them were easy to deal with. To be precise, they were all perverts. After returning to the village, Darling and the other beasts shouted at the top of their lungs as soon as they entered the back mountain, "Master, we're back!" Lung Ruoxue and the freak walked out of the room and looked at the crowd in front of them with a smile, as well as the excited beasts, knowing that their mission was completed. "Master!" All the beasts found their spots and stuck to Lung Ruoxue. "You naughty brats, did you cause trouble for Master?" Lung Ruoxue teased with a light smile. "Master, we are so cute. How can we cause trouble for you?" Dazzle said aggrievedly. "Boo! Master is really too evil. How can you think of them like this?" "Ha!" Lung Ruoxue gently caressed the soft fur on the little black fox and laughed happily. "Hello, boss master." At this moment, the white tiger couldn't help but say. It had to let the boss master notice its existence. "Where did this white tiger come from?" Lung Ruoxue asked the advisor. "Master, it's my new underling," White Dawn said lazily. "Oh, what about the 2 bears?" Lung Ruoxue looked at the 2 giant bears standing behind Old Man Zhao and asked curiously. Lass, they're my underlings." Old Man Zhao said with a slightly pale face, full of pride. "Yes, he tricked them with 2 stalks of corn," the old man said eccentrically. All right, he admitted that he was jealous. This damn old man was really too lucky. 2 drops of cold sweat dripped down Lung Ruoxue's forehead. She didn't expect the bears in this world to also like to eat corn. Could it be that the preferences of animals were all the same? By the way, where are the 2 butlers? Lung Ruoxue glanced at everyone but didn't see the 2 butlers and couldn't help asking curiously. "Miss, we're here." The 2 butlers were panting from carrying the peacock. They hurriedly put down the heavy object in their hands and ran to Lung Ruoxue when they saw her. "Head butler, what are you carrying?" Lung Ruoxue couldn't help asking. She only took a casual look just now, but she really couldn't tell what it was. It looked like a bird. Master, that's my underling," Feng Zhan said with a smile. "Why did you take in an underling as well?" Lung Ruoxue was a little puzzled. Feng Zhan had many people already, so why did she take in an underling? The little kitty took one. "Of course, I can't lose out to it," Feng Zhan said matter-of-factly. "You damn bird. Master, I request to duel with this damn bird." White Dawn said through gritted teeth. "No. You have to be as close as brothers to the outside world. You absolutely can't kill each other. However, normal sparring can still be allowed." Lung Ruoxue looked at the slightly smug Feng Zhan and said with a naughty smile. "Master, then I request to spar with this dead bird," White Dawn said hurriedly. It was originally quite disappointed to hear Lung Ruoxue say so, but it didn't expect it to spar with this dead bird. There was no need to be polite. Anyway, whether it was a duel or a spar, it would be fine as long as it could teach this dead bird a lesson. "Okay, approved," Lung Ruoxue said with a smile. "Master, this kitten is stronger than me. This is unfair to me." "Boo-hoo," Feng Zhan said pitifully with a bitter face. "Feng Zhan, you have to believe in yourself. Moreover, Sparring with opponents stronger than you is very beneficial for you. Lung Ruoxue smiled gently and comforted her. Chapter 492, New Mission 1. That's right, hee. Damn bird, let's spar. White Dawn smiled evilly and pounced directly at Feng Zhan. I don't want to. Feng Zhan flapped her small wings and flew away. Do you think I don't have wings? White Dawn used its wind attribute mystic technique, and a small pair of green wings appeared on both sides of its waist. It flapped them gently twice before chasing after Feng Zhan. Boss is so powerful. He actually grew wings, the white tiger said foolishly. It looked at the pair of wings of White Dawn, who was chasing the little red bird in the sky, with great desire. Swear, are they serious? Lung Qingtan asked worriedly as he looked at the two little beasts that were already fighting. Yes, Grandpa, don't worry. They know their limits, Lung Ruoxue comforted. That's good. Lung Qingtian was relieved. He didn't want to see both sides suffer. Where am I? At this moment, the peacock, which had woken up, was dizzy and could not tell what was going on. Damn it, who knocked it out? Its head was still hurting. This is our residence. Lung Ruoxue kindly explained to the peacock. Damn it, who knocked me out and brought me here? The peacock roared furiously as it slowly woke up. Shoo, be quiet. The one who knocked you unconscious is in the sky. It doesn't have a good temper, the white tiger reminded softly as it walked to the peacock and looked at the sky. Ah! The peacock raised its head and looked at the sky curiously, only to find a flying cat and a little red bird that could breathe fire fighting in the sky. At this moment, they were locked in a fierce battle. Feathers and cat fur flew in the sky, falling like snowflakes. The other beasts were hurriedly picking up the fur that they had dropped and handed it to the woman who had spoken to it just now. See? That kitten is my boss, and little red bird is your boss. They are all very fierce, so we have to be good, the white tiger said very cautiously. My boss? The peacock was puzzled. It had always been alone. When did it recognize its boss? Why didn't it have any impression of him? Little peacock, since Feng Zhan accepted you, you can be considered my beast from now on. As my beast, unity is a must, understand? Lung Ruoxue couldn't help speaking as she listened to the conversation between the two beasts with some amusement. Yes. The peacock felt dizzy and sold itself off in a daze. It did not understand how it was agreed until a long time later. Good. Lung Ruoxue caressed the peacock's feathers gently and praised it. Don't touch me casually. I will be shy. The peacock lowered its head shyly. Lung Ruoxue couldn't help but be at a loss for words. What kind of bird is this? It's thinking too much. Master. After fighting enough, White Dawn and Feng Zhan took the initiative to stop fighting and were in a very sorry state. They stood in front of Lung Ruoxue like little wives, waiting to be reprimanded. Did it satisfy you? Lung Ruoxue suppressed her smile and asked lightly as she looked at the two beasts hanging on her body. That was satisfying, White Dawn and Feng Zhan said in unison, feeling very nervous. Are we still fighting in the future? Lung Ruoxue asked. We won't fight anymore, the two beasts said hurriedly while thinking in their hearts at the same time. Was their master angry? Okay, go back and rest first. Lung Ruoxue nodded slightly, leaving Charm and Darling outside. She sent the other beasts into the bracelet. Grandpa, let's sit in the house and talk. Lung Ruoxue turned her head and said to Lung Qingtian and the others. Okay. Everyone nodded and followed Lung Ruoxue into the house. After everyone found a seat and sat down, Lung Ruoxue said, Butlers, what do you think? Miss, the head butler and the second butler looked at each other, not knowing how to say it. In short, they felt like heroes were useless this time. Miss Beast was too abnormal. They didn't even have the chance to attack before the matter was resolved. Head butler, the next mission. I request that you take in all the forces with similar situations as yours for use within a month. Lung Ruoxue continued to order. In fact, she knew what these two people were thinking. However, she couldn't help with this. Her only hope was that they wouldn't go to the extreme. Miss, The head butler was a little dumbfounded. This was an impossible task for him. How could a month be enough? What? Not confident? Lung Ruoxue raised her eyebrows and asked very casually. Time is a little tight, the head butler said honestly. There should be no problem if it took longer with the help of Miss Beasts. However, a month was impossible. Head butler, a month is enough, Lung Ruoxue said with certainty. This was the final decision she, the freak, and Empty had made after discussing. Head butler, don't worry. We will continue to help you. Old Man Zao patted the head butler's shoulder and said loyally. Thank you. The head butler nodded gratefully. My beasts will still move with you. Moreover, I just want the result no matter what you do, Lung Ruoxue continued. Yes, the head butler said quickly, even though he wasn't too sure. He would do his best no matter what because it wasn't for others but for themselves. Rest early today and continue tomorrow, Lung Ruoxue said. Yes. The head butler left the room with the second butler. Swear, send us to the space to sleep today. Lung Qingtian said. They hadn't entered space for a long time, and there would be a big operation tomorrow, so they would go in and have a good rest today. Chapter 493, New Mission 2. Okay, Lung Ruoxue answered and stored everyone in the bracelet. Huh, 2 Harrys, this place isn't bad, right? After entering the bracelet, Old Man Zao pointed at the beautiful scenery in the space and said to the 2 imitated bear cubs on his shoulder. The 2 bears were obviously dumbfounded. Everyone rest early. Lung Ruoxue looked at Old Man Zao, who was getting cocky again, helplessly and pulled the freak into the purple bamboo hut. The next morning, Lung Qingtian and the others, who had long been prepared, set off with them after the 2 butlers reported. In the bracelet, Lung Ruoxue and the freak sat on a stone chair in the space and chatted. Swear, aren't we going to take a look? The freak asked with a chuckle. No. There won't be a place for them to perform if we go. Lung Ruoxue glanced at the freak and said indifferently. That's true, the freak agreed. However, Swear, aren't you worried about them? The mission this time is much more difficult than the previous one. The freak asked curiously. What's there to worry about? They're not weak either. They won't be in danger as long as they don't provoke supremacy Xian, Lung Ruoxue said nonchalantly. That's true. Swear, what should we do? The freak smiled seductively, and his eyes began to glow again. Let's go cultivate, Lung Ruoxue said. She had already felt faint signs of a breakthrough in the heaven-defying skill these few days, so she wanted to try. Alas. All right then. The freak said with a bitter face, slightly displeased. Let's go. Lung Ruoxue stood up and pulled the freak directly into the cultivation room in the purple bamboo hut. At the same time, the head butler and the others had already arrived at their first destination today. Head butler, do you know the owner of this place? Lung Qingtian asked curiously. Yes, we've met several times. He's one of my few friends in Myriad Mountain City, the head butler explained. Head butler, your friend seems to be doing better than you. At least, the mountain he occupies is much larger than yours, Old Man Zao praised as he looked at the towering, upright mountain in front of him. Yes, even though we are both mystic sovereigns, his strength is above mine, the main butler said very honestly. The strength of mystics of the same level was also different. Some were strong, while others were very ordinary. For example, he was above average. Oh, how is he compared to our White Dawn? Lung Qingtian looked at Bai Su, who was sleeping on the white tiger and asked curiously. Their strength should be comparable, the head butler said after some thought. Is that so? Then let me try later, White Dawn said with its eyes closed. It was only a level 4 transcendent divine beasts, but it was still very confident in its strength. Moreover, it didn't think that a human mystic sovereign would be its match. Ugh. Okay, the head butler answered helplessly. Alas. He was also a battle maniac. Head butler, quickly get your friend out. Let's end this quickly. We have to go to several places today. Old Man Zao said impatiently. He might not like to fight, but he liked to see the world burn. Okay. The head butler formed a ring with his index finger and blew on it. After the whistle sounded, a loud whistle echoed in the mountain not long after. Wow, there's actually a contact code. Old Man Zao said excitedly. Yes. The head butler said shyly with a red face. Wang Long, why do you have the time to look for me? A deep male voice sounded in everyone's ears as the whistle faded. Immediately after, a burly middle-aged man appeared in front of everyone. Of course I'm here for something, the head butler said. Say whatever you have something to say. Ha! The middle-aged man said a little roughly and then laughed out loud. Let me introduce him to you. His name is Cheng Wu, and he is my good friend. The head butler pointed at the middle-aged man. Then he pointed at Leng Qingtian and the others and said to the man named Cheng Wu, they are my young lattice relatives and beasts. You're young, miss? Don't tell me you joined the 5 major factions? Cheng Wu said resentfully, his resolute face full of anger. No. Someone challenged me, but I lost, so I became her butler, the head butler explained simply. You lost? Cheng Wu was a little surprised. Wang Long's strength was second only to his. Even he had to go through a lot of trouble to defeat Wang Long. He didn't expect someone to defeat him, and Wang Long was willing to submit to others. Yes, I lost. The head butler nodded. I also want to challenge whoever won against you. Cheng Wu suddenly said, and his fighting spirit was high. Whoever could defeat Wang Long was definitely an expert, and exchanging blows with experts had always been his greatest interest. Do you want to challenge me? White Dawn asked indifferently. Who's talking? Cheng Wu couldn't help asking after searching for a long time but didn't find the person who spoke. It's me. White Dawn said impatiently. Did this human do it on purpose? It was a little angry. Where? Cheng Wu still couldn't find it and was still searching around. Look down. White Dawn roared furiously. Is that you? Cheng Wu lowered his head obediently and looked at the kitten lying on the white tiger in front of him, asking uncertainly. Nonsense, it's me, White Dawn roared angrily. Big brother, let's calm down and not stoop to the level of this kind of blind human, the white tiger quickly coaxed. Boo! This was not its fault. It originally wanted to return to its original form, but Big Brother despised its original form for being too big, so it became the size of a normal tiger. Okay. White Dawn nodded and decided to listen to his little brother. Chapter 494, New Mission, 3. You defeated Wang Long? Cheng Wu probed because he didn't believe that such a small cat could defeat Wang Long, who was a mystic sovereign. How was this possible? Yes, it's me. White Dawn said arrogantly. It had decided to teach this man a lesson later. He had poor judgment after all. How dare he look down on it? It would let him know why flowers were so red. Cheng Wu looked at White Dawn, then turned to look at Wang Long. He finally believed it after receiving Wang Long's gaze. Therefore, he said, can I challenge you? Of course you can. However, since it's a challenge, we have to follow the rules of Myriad Mountain City. You know what to do if you lose, right? White Dawn raised his eyes slightly and asked calmly. I know. If I lose, I will give up my territory, Cheng Wu said very honestly. No, if you lose, you have to be my underling. White Dawn took the liberty to add another line. Okay, no problem, Cheng Wu replied after some thought. Then let's begin. I'll let you make the first move since you're my future little brother. White Dawn floated in the air with a light smile, looking very happy. Leng Qingtian and the other beasts consciously made way for them and retreated to the side to watch the battle after they were about to fight. I won't be polite anymore, Cheng Wu said. Then his aura suddenly changed and he took the lead to attack. White Dawn jumped up and down lightly, avoiding Cheng Wu's attack. Then he found the right opportunity to release a stream of water attribute mystic energy, and water droplets floated gently in the sky, surrounding Cheng Wu. Cheng Wu's powerful aura retracted and released, easily shattering the small water droplets. Then, green wind blades attacked White Dawn nonstop. However, because White Dawn was still in its transmogrification state, it was easy to dodge. Cheng Wu was a little angry when he saw this scene. This little kitten was petite and very agile. It was not easy for him to hit it, so even though he had used several moves, he did not hit it at all. However, what made him even angrier was that the kitten could hit him with every attack. It was not very painful, but he could not take it anymore. "Ha, big guy, be careful. I'm going to be serious," White Dawn said provocatively. Cheng Wu was so angry that he was about to vomit blood. "Damn it, you've been playing with me for so long." At this point, he didn't hold back anymore, and the moves he used became fiercer and fiercer each time. "Big guy, take my melting slash," White Dawn shouted and gathered all the water attribute mystic energy in its body onto its little paw. Then, it threw it in Cheng Wu's direction. Bang! The melting slash that was thrown at Cheng Wu exploded. Cheng Wu's location was shrouded in black smoke in the blink of an eye. When the black smoke slowly disappeared, the place where Cheng Wu was had already been blasted into a deep pit. Cheng Wu was covered in dirt and lying motionlessly in the pit. After a while, seeing that Cheng Wu still had no reaction in the pit, everyone and the beasts around the pit couldn't help discussing spiritedly. "There's no reaction yet. Could he be dead?" Old Man Zao said worriedly. "This fellow would be the main force in the future. Wouldn't it be a pity if he died like this? Damn cat, why did you hit me so hard? Alright, this fellow is dead. Let's see how you explain it to Master when you get back." Feng Zhan gloated. "Damn bird, who told you he was dead? He should have just fainted," White Dawn roared furiously. "Boo! How could it be blamed? If that guy hadn't used his mystic technique to block it, how could it have exploded?" However, it was still very confident in attacking itself. With the strength of the Mystic Emperor's body, the mystic energy it used just now would definitely not be able to kill it. After a while, "Don't tell me he really died?" the head butler said worriedly. In fact, he didn't believe that Cheng Wu would die so easily. However, it had really been a long time since Cheng Wu had any reaction. "It's possible. Since he's dead, let's bury him directly so that we don't have to dig a hole." Darling said with a naughty smile, its beautiful silver eyes full of curiosity. In its memory, its cute master would grow whatever she planted, so it really wanted to know if it could grow a person after planting this person. "Darling, you're too evil. However, what you said makes sense." Lung Qingtian picked up Darling and said helplessly, "Alas, why were Schwer's beasts so naughty and cute? Lovely master's grandfather, what are we waiting for? Hurry up and bury it," Darling said excitedly and raised its little paw to lead the way into the pit. The other beasts also imitated Darling and threw dirt into the pit, seeing that he was having fun. "Big brother, do we really have to bury him?" the second butler asked hesitantly. He was a little hesitant. Did Big Brother Ching really die so easily? Alas. Third. The head butler nodded and said sadly, muttering in his heart, "Ching Wu, have a good journey. Bury your head. I'm not dead yet." Cheng Wu, who was lying in the pit, used all his strength and roared furiously. Damn it, these heartless fellows. He had fainted, and no one came down to save him. Moreover, he had just woken up a little when he heard these people saying that they wanted to bury him. He was so angry. However, he couldn't speak at that time, and his body couldn't move, so he could only watch helplessly as they threw the soil at him. However, he could finally speak now. Otherwise, he would really be the first mystic sovereign buried alive. So he didn't die. Darling said with some disappointment. There was finally a chance to experiment. Boo! Do you really want me to die? Cheng Wu said speechlessly with his eyes half open. What kind of tone was that? It seemed like he was very disappointed that he didn't die. Chapter 495. New Mission 4. We were already mentally prepared for your death. Who knew that you would actually come back to life? Alas. Darling sighed helplessly. Cheng Wu was depressed. He was not dead, yet he was wrong. Boo! Was there any justice in this world? Whose little fox was this? Why was it so cute? Alright, everyone cut it out. Head butler, go down and save him. Lung Qingtian couldn't bear to watch any longer and tried to smooth things over. Alas. If he continued, This fellow would probably be angered to death even if he wasn't blasted to death. Boo-hoo, Cheng Wu was so touched that he was about to cry. Someone was finally being kind. What a good person. Yes, the head butler and the second butler answered quickly and jumped down the pit to save Cheng Wu. Little brother, you're really too suicidal. Why did you resist? You're asking for trouble. White Dawn jumped to Cheng Wu's chest and looked at him with some accusation. I was wrong. Cheng Wu wanted to cry but had no tears. Boo! Whose beasts were these? Why were all their mouths so poisonous? It's good that you know your mistake. Come, open your mouth and eat this. White Dawn said very thoughtfully. After speaking, it threw a pill into Cheng Wu's open mouth. Cheng Wu's injuries quickly recovered after taking the pill. He patted the dust off his body and stood up. Then he bowed to White Dawn and said, Thank you for the pill, big brother. He had to admit defeat. You're welcome. You're my underling. You'll have meat to eat if you follow boss in the future. White Dawn said proudly. Yes. Cheng Wu's forehead dripped with 2 drops of cold sweat. He thought to himself, what a stinky kitten. He probably had to follow this cat's master from now on. Hey, big guy, you're thanking the wrong person. That medicine belongs to my master, not this damn cat, Feng Zhan said with some dissatisfaction. He just couldn't stand this damn cat being too smug and insisted on undermining this damn cat. Got it. Cheng Wu braced himself. In fact, he obviously knew that it was impossible for cats to concoct pills, but he couldn't say it out loud. Damn bird, Masters is mine, White Dawn roared furiously. Stop arguing. Business is more important. Lung Qingtian quickly stopped the 2 restless little fellows when he saw that they were about to quarrel again. Yes, Master Grandpa, White Dawn and Feng Zhan answered very obediently. They were like 2 beasts compared to their aggressive appearance just now. Head butler, tell Cheng Wu about our arrangement. Lung Qingtian ordered. Yes, the head butler answered and then explained Lung Ruoxu's order and plan to Cheng Wu. Cheng Wu fell silent after hearing this. After a long while, he jumped up excitedly and laughed. Ha! Is this true? This is great. Of course it's true. Don't doubt my master's words, White Dawn said with slight dissatisfaction. That's not what I mean. I want to say that this idea is very good, but it's very difficult to succeed, Cheng Wu said worriedly. For many years, there had been people who wanted to replace the 5 major factions and change the current situation in Myriad Mountain City. However, no one had succeeded. Otherwise, Myriad Mountain City would not be what it was now. It doesn't mean that my master can't do what others can't, White Dawn said confidently. His master would definitely succeed with their help. Yes, my master will definitely succeed, Feng Zhan agreed. Their reactions had always been the same when it came to matters related to their master. Of course. Cheng Wu hurriedly echoed. He couldn't provoke little beasts that protected their masters. He had yet to meet the masters of these beasts, but his respect for their masters was already like the raging river. He was really too curious. What kind of master could raise such a special beast? Yes. Cheng Wu was very excited. This plan was very difficult. But how could he let go of this opportunity since they were so confident? After all, this was his wish for many years. Let's continue. Lung Qingtian ordered, and the main group continued their mission for the day. A day passed quickly, and they returned to the village collectively after completing all the missions. At this moment, Lung Ruoxue, who was cultivating in space, brought the freak out of the bracelet and into the yard after hearing her beast's voice. Master! All the beasts hurriedly pounced on Lung Ruoxue when they saw her. On the other hand, Cheng Wu and the others who had just joined today looked at Lung Ruoxue curiously and sized her up because they were very curious as to what kind of person was the master that the beasts mentioned being able to obtain their love and respect. However, they realized that Lung Ruoxue was very different from what they had imagined at first sight. The Lung Ruoxue in front of them was really too ordinary. Of course, that was only their implicit thoughts. But, are you very disappointed to see me now? Lung Ruoxue teased. It's just that you are a little different from what we imagined, Cheng Wu said very honestly. He really didn't expect Lung Ruoxue to be so ugly. Therefore, the excuse he prepared was useless. They get used to it. Looks don't mean anything. Lung Ruoxue said with a light smile. Yes, I'm Cheng Wu. Cheng Wu nodded. Strength was the most important as a cultivator, appearance was secondary. Lung Ruoxue, welcome. Lung Ruoxue said with a light smile. The others introduced themselves one after another after Lung Ruoxue finished speaking. After everyone was introduced, Lung Ruoxue said, Cheng Wu, bring a team tomorrow and split up with the main butler. We must take in all our target forces within a month. Yes, I promise to complete the mission. Cheng Wu was so excited. He didn't expect to be entrusted with such an important task just after joining, hee. Chapter 496, New Mission 5. Yes, very good. Follow our plan to gather those scattered forces. As for me, I will temporarily enter seclusion to prepare for my breakthrough. Don't disturb me if there's nothing important, Lung Ruoxue said after some thought. If there's anything you don't dare to decide, discuss it with Grandpa and the others and decide on your own. Lung Ruoxue looked at Lung Qingtian and the others and continued. What she implied was that if there was something that couldn't be resolved, she would look for No to help. She believed that Grandpa and the others would understand. Yes, everyone answered. All right, go and rest early. Also, be careful and don't leak the news. Lung Ruoxue reminded them last. Everyone nodded in unison and then left Lung Ruoxue and the others' residences tactfully. Shuer, why are you going into seclusion now? Lung Qingtian asked in puzzlement after the main butler and the others left. He thought that Shuer would only start her seclusion after the task was over. I feel like I'm about to break through these few days, so I want to work hard and see if I can break through successfully. Lung Ruoxue explained. She shouldn't be in seclusion for long this time. Oh, then go into seclusion first. Well, enter seclusion after the matter here is over, Lung Qingtian said. Since Shuer already had a premonition, it shouldn't be long before she could break through. It would be a good thing for them if Shuer could advance to become a great mystic. This way, their overall strength would be stronger. Yes, Grandpa. If you want to enter the space, just call Qingju by his name. If there's anything you can't solve, look for non-negotiable. Lung Ruoxue reminded them worriedly. Hee, lass, enter seclusion at ease. Well, settle the things outside, Old Man Zhao said hurriedly. Okay. Lung Ruoxue nodded slightly and then brought everyone and the beasts into the bracelet. Grandpa, we're going into seclusion. Lung Ruoxue pulled the freak directly into the cultivation room in the purple bamboo hut after speaking. For the next few days, Lung Ruoxue and the freak entered seclusion in the bracelet while Lung Qingtian and the others continued to gather and expand their forces outside. Half a month later, everyone was gathered in the yard at the back of the mountain, and it was extraordinarily bustling. Eat and drink to your heart's content, everyone. Don't stand on ceremony. Old Man Zhao greeted everyone warmly and generously took out a lot of food. We won't stand on ceremony. Cheng Wu laughed out loud and said happily. He didn't expect their mission to be so smooth. It only took half a month to complete the mission Lung Ruoxue gave. In fact, it was all thanks to everyone's cooperation because it became much easier to continue recruiting other forces after they recaptured numerous factions. After all, a large number of people had already lived in Myriad Mountain City for a long time and had been oppressed by the 5 major factions for a long time. Therefore, it almost didn't take much for those people to take the initiative to pledge allegiance to them after knowing their thoughts. Now, almost all the scattered factions were in their control. Therefore, in just half a month, they were really the 6th largest faction in Myriad Mountain City. After completing the task Lung Ruoxue gave them, everyone relaxed for the time being. Today was the celebration party specially organized for them by Old Man Zhao and the others. Good, now you look like a man. Old Man Zhao shouted excitedly. Everyone, drink less. This wine can get drunk easily. Lung Qingtian looked at the excited crowd and had to remind them. These wines were refined with the spirit fruits in Shuer's space, and ordinary fruit wine could not compare to it. Moreover, the wine was stronger. Old Lung, everyone is so happy today. Don't spoil the fun. Old man Zhao immediately pouted unhappily when he heard that alcohol was restricted. Just drink to your heart's content. I won't care about you then. Lung Qingtian shook his head helplessly. I know. I know my limits, old man Zhao promised hurriedly, his mouth already reeking of alcohol. Master Lung, don't worry. I'll watch over them, the head butler quickly promised. Yes, even though today is a celebration party, we have to be careful of the safety of the village, Lung Qingtian reminded. Fortunately, their actions were very secretive and did not leak any news. Otherwise, how would they dare to hold a celebration party? Not to mention drinking. Yes, I've already arranged everything. Moreover, I won't drink, the main butler said hurriedly. He was now more respectful to Lung Qingtian and the others after interacting with them for more than half a month. They might not be as strong as him in terms of strength, but their experience in dealing with people and matters was not something he could compare with. He had a deep understanding of this. That's good. Lung Qingtian was relieved to hear that. Damn old man, you sure know how to make a fuss, the old man sitting beside Lung Qingtian couldn't help but say. He has always been like that. Lung Qingtian said helplessly. Old man Zhao was lively, jumpy, and sometimes like a child. Unless it was refining artifacts, no one could expect him to stay obediently. Alas. I'm done eating. I'm going to rest first. The old man got up and returned to his room after speaking. Soon, Lung Qingtian, Lin Liang, and the others returned to their rooms to rest. The lively scene in the yard continued until late at night. The next morning, Lung Qingtian and the others saw people lying all over the yard when they emerged from their rooms. Some of them were even holding wine jugs. As for old man Zhao, he ran to the only tree in the yard and hugged the tree trunk to sleep soundly. Haha, does this damn old man think he's a monkey? He actually climbed up a tree to sleep. The old man couldn't help but laugh when he saw old man Zhao sleeping. Wake him up. Lung Qingtian shook his head helplessly. Alas, how much did he drink yesterday to be so drunk? Damn old man Zhao, wake up. The old man raised a leg and took the opportunity to kick old man Zhao's but several times. Chapter 497. The next unlucky one. 1. No, I haven't had enough sleep. Old man Zhao stammered. Then he buried his head in his arms and curled up. The sun is shining on your butt. Hurry up and get up to work. The old man roared into old man Zhao's ear. What's the matter? What happened? The loud sound shocked old man Zhao so much that he jumped up immediately and asked in shock. Nothing. I just woke you up, the old man said with a naughty smile, his old face full of pride. Damn it, you old thing, how dare you scare me? Old man Zhao roared furiously. His head hurt from drinking too much yesterday, and now it hurt even more from anger. Moreover, he was dizzy. You slept like a dead pig. I couldn't wake you up no matter what. The old man said innocently. You, old man Zhao was so angry. Old man Zhao, didn't I tell you to drink less? Why did you drink so much? Lung Qingtian looked at all the empty wine jars and said with some dissatisfaction. We didn't drink much. Why didn't we? Old man Zhao said shyly. He didn't feel like he had drunk a lot. You still have the cheek to say it. The old man pouted and said mockingly. Of course. Old man Zhao roared immediately. All right, stop arguing. Wake them up quickly. Lung Qingtian ordered. Okay, the old men answered and then split up to wake the men who were sleeping like dead pigs. After a while, everyone woke up from their hangover. However, the aftereffects of being drunk also found them unceremoniously. Oh, it hurts. Cheng Wu covered his head with one hand. Do you feel uncomfortable now? I told you to drink less. All of you are disobedient. Lung Qingtian snorted, his face full of displeasure. I'm sorry. We didn't do it on purpose, Cheng Wu said unpleasantly. He was too excited yesterday, so he accidentally drank too much. Go back to your rooms and rest. There's nothing for now, Lung Qingtian said. Yes. Everyone helped each other up and left the yard behind the mountain. 3 days later. In the bracelet. Lung Qingtian and the others were chatting in the space when they suddenly felt a strong spiritual power fluctuation. Immediately, all the spiritual power in the space rushed toward the purple bamboo hut. Is Schwer going to break through? Lung Qingtian asked happily. Perhaps it's little Chin Chen. Old man Zhao was also a little excited. Anyway, it was a good thing no matter who among them broke through. At this moment, Lung Ruoxue and the freak had already opened their eyes at the same time in the cultivation room of the purple bamboo hut. The two of them looked at each other and smiled tacitly before leaving the purple bamboo hut hand in hand. Grandpa! Lung Ruoxue saw her grandfather and the others gathered in front of her door after exiting the purple bamboo hut. They were looking at her door expectantly. Schwer, you broke through, right? Lung Qingtian asked uncertainly. It was impossible to advance in space, and coupled with Lung Ruoxue deliberately converging her aura, he couldn't be sure if Schwer had successfully advanced at all. Yes, Grandpa. We all broke through, Lung Ruoxue said with a nod. She finally broke through to the 4th level of her heaven-defying skill, and she could also advance to Great Mystic. Okay, that's great. Lung Qingtian laughed happily. Big sister, congratulations. Qingju appeared in front of Lung Ruoxue. He could unlock another seal. Moreover, he was so happy that his mouth couldn't close at the thought of the additional land. Qingju, big sister will unlock your other seal now. Lung Ruoxue didn't beat around the bush and said directly after seeing Qingju. Yes. Qingju patted his chubby hand happily. The little black dog, which had been following by his feet, jumped around excitedly. Lung Ruoxue shook her head helplessly. Then she waved her hands and cast a seal spell. The 4th seal of the Dry Kun bracelet was opened. The space was actually more than 3 times larger than before after the 4th seal was unlocked. Moreover, the spiritual energy in the air was becoming richer and purer. 10 more pieces of Qingju and the little black dog's favorite land appeared all of a sudden. Hee my land. The little black dog drooled happily. Qingju, quickly tell big sister what additional abilities you have? Lung Ruoxue asked Qingju, who was anxious to leave to see his new place. Big sister, Qingju's abilities are all very useful. I have the ability to monitor this time, Qingju said cockily. The ability to monitor? How far can it monitor? Lung Ruoxue asked curiously. Could this ability be what she was thinking? With big sister's current strength, monitoring the entire Myriad Mountain City will not be a problem, Qingju said proudly. Only Myriad Mountain City? You can have none. Old man Zhao said with some dissatisfaction. I am big sister's artifact spirit, so my ability is naturally related to big sister's strength. The stronger big sister is, the stronger my ability will be. As for Zero, can he monitor me all the time like I do? Qingju immediately retorted. For powerhouses, they could use their divine sense to search for some situations in their surroundings. However, using divine sense was not limitless. It was fine to sense it slightly, but no powerhouse could withstand monitoring it all the time. Yes, Qingju's ability is good and practical, Lung Ruoxue quickly praised to prevent the two of them from arguing. It's good that big sister is satisfied. Big sister, Qingju's ability will become better and better, so you have to cultivate diligently. Qingju said very seriously. Okay. I'll work hard, Lung Ruoxue promised. She pinched Qingju's tender little face and ate some tofu. Big sister, you only know how to bully Qingju. Ooh, Qingju pouted its pink lips, and its bright eyes welled up with tears. It pretended to be displeased and ran away after speaking. Chapter 498, The Next Unlucky One, 2. Big sister, leave the situation in Myriad Mountain City to me. I'll inform you if anything happens. Qingju's voice sounded from afar. I swear, this is great. If anything happens in Myriad Mountain City, it won't be able to hide from us, Lung Qingtian said with a happy smile. Yes. Lung Ruoxue nodded. Grandpa, the freak, and I will find a place to advance first. We will carry out the next step of the plan when we return, Lung Ruoxue continued. Qingju's new ability appeared too timely for her plan. Okay, go quickly. Lung Qingtian said impatiently. Okay, we're going then. Lung Ruoxue was about to leave the bracelet with the freak when Qingju's voice sounded again. Big sister, the deep stream below the back mountain is very safe. Where can you advance? Qingju asked. Okay, let's go there, Lung Ruoxue answered and then left the bracelet with the freak. After exiting the bracelet, Lung Ruoxue and the freak came to the edge of the cliff at the back of the mountain. They looked down and found that the deep stream below could not be seen at all. Moreover, the entire mountain stream was shrouded in thick fog. Schwer, should we go down? The freak asked. Okay, little Peacock, bring us down. Lung Ruoxue released the tragic Peacock and ordered. Yes, the Peacock answered respectfully. Then it lowered itself and waited for Lung Ruoxue and the freak to sit on its back. It flew down into the deep stream after the two of them sat steadily. When they arrived at the bottom of the deep stream, Lung Ruoxue and the freak were surprised to find that it was unbelievably beautiful below. The blue sky, the warm sunlight, formed a sharp contrast with the thick fog above. Moreover, the air below was very fresh. There were many cute little animals playing happily apart from all sorts of flowers and grass. However, there were no signs of human habitation here. Hee, big sister, this place isn't bad, right? Qingju's voice sounded in Lung Ruoxue's heart. Yes, not bad. Apart from being inferior to our space, this place can be considered a paradise, Lung Ruoxue replied in her heart and praised the scenery here. Schwer, we want to take a look too. Lung Qingtian and the others in the bracelet transmitted their voices eagerly after observing the scenery outside. Okay. Lung Ruoxue moved Lung Qingtan, the others, and the beasts out with a thought. This place is really good. It's not easy to find such a pure place on the boundless heaven continent now. Empty looked at the beautiful scenery in front of him and sighed with emotion. Hee, lass, it's not bad if we stay here temporarily. Old man Zhao said. Stay here? Don't tell me you intend to live in seclusion. Lung Ruoxue raised her eyebrows slightly and asked with a faint smile. Of course not. I just think the environment here is good and the air is good. Old man Zhao quickly explained. Big sister, Ball found a good treasure. At this moment, Ball, which had been playing around since leaving the bracelet, flew over and rubbed Lung Ruoxue's face with its round little body. Then it said in a childish voice, What treasure? Lung Ruoxue was very curious. It seemed that Ball had fewer opportunities to seek treasures since coming to the boundless heaven continent. Over there. Ball pointed at a corner not far away. Oh, let's go take a look. Everyone followed Ball curiously to the spot it pointed at, and then they were all stunned. This is a treasure? Chio. Have you not searched for treasures for a long time? Old man Zhao asked very implicitly so as not to hurt this little thing's self-esteem. Alas, how is this a treasure? This was obviously the most common weed in the boundless heaven continent. Treasure hunting is Ball's instinct. Ball won't make a mistake, Ball said angrily. It was very displeased that someone questioned its ability. Yes, I also believe that Ball won't make a mistake, Lung Ruoxue quickly coaxed. She squatted down and carefully uprooted the grass. However, she didn't expect the root of this grass to be golden yellow and transparent like crystal. Seems like it's really not ordinary weeds? Old man Zhao said in surprise. He had never seen grass that resembled golden crystals. If I'm not mistaken, it should be the legendary yellow crystal root. Empty looked at the grass thoughtfully and said excitedly after a long while. Yellow crystal root? Lung Ruoxue carefully searched for the types of herbs in her memory but found no records of any yellow crystal root. Schwer, the yellow crystal root has been extinct for 1,000,000 years. I've only seen it in an ancient book. It's normal that you don't know. Empty said. Oh, Lung Ruoxue answered thoughtfully. In fact, she was a little puzzled. Since she had never seen it in ancient books, then it was impossible that there were no records in the medicinal manual left by her master. The only explanation was that the yellow crystal root did not belong to the boundless heaven continent's world, so she did not see it. Empty, what's the use of the yellow crystal root? Old man Zao asked curiously. Wow, it had been extinct for 1,000,000 years. Didn't this grass become ancient? The yellow crystal root can be refined into a yellow crystal pill with several other rare herbs. The yellow crystal pill can treat any internal and external injuries. You won't die as long as you still have a breath left. Empty said. Wow, a sacred healing item. Lass, let's look around to see if there's more, Old man Zao said excitedly. After speaking, he really began looking around. Go ahead and look. I'll advance first. 2 drops of cold sweat dripped down Lung Ruox's forehead. After speaking, she sent the yellow crystal root into the bracelet. Then she pulled the freak to a spacious place and sat down to prepare to advance. The others, including Empty, lowered their heads and searched seriously. A moment later, the heaven-earth law that advanced descended on the entire valley. Immediately after, dazzling light quickly flashed, and then another wave of advancement. Chapter 499. The next unlucky one. 3. There was a long pause. After Lung Ruoxue and all the beasts advanced separately, Old man Zao and the others were still searching seriously. Even the spectacular advancement scene just now didn't attract their attention at all. Lung Ruoxue stood up after regulating her breathing. She looked helplessly in the direction of her grandfather and the others, speechless. Schwer, looks like we've been ignored, the freak teased with a chuckle. This freak, eat this. Lung Ruoxue took out 2 pills and handed one to the freak. Then she ate one herself. Schwer, what is this? The freak asked curiously after taking the pill. It didn't look like an appearance-changing pill. During this period of time, they had been changing their appearance. Schwer had given each of them 2 more times after the appearance-changing pill's effects expired. However, it didn't seem to be time yet. This is the antidote for the appearance-changing pill. Lung Ruoxue smiled evilly. She would take the antidote and not let them take it since they ignored her. Schwer, will it be troublesome if we recover our looks now? The freak said worriedly. He still didn't want others to see Schwer's beautiful appearance. Yes, but we are only recovering our appearance at home now. We will still be in disguise when we go out, so don't worry. Lung Ruoxue comforted her. Alas, her current strength was too low. If she couldn't disguise herself, trouble would probably not stop. Oh, that's good. The freak was relieved. This way, no one would have a chance to see Schwer's beauty. Master, I'm already a level 9 legendary beast. I'm just a little bit away from becoming a transcendent legendary beast. At this moment, Feng Zhan flew over with an excited face and landed on Lung Ruox's shoulder. Master has recovered his appearance. Master's appearance was still more pleasing to the eye. Feng Zhan, congratulations. You have to work hard and advance to a transcendent divine beasts as soon as possible. Lung Ruoxue encouraged. Master, I'll be fine as long as you work hard. I'll also benefit from your advancement. Feng Zhan said with a naughty smile. It advanced 2 levels in an instant during its master's advancement this time. This was much faster than its own cultivation. You lazy bum! Lung Ruox's forehead was full of black lines as she scolded with a smile. Alas, it seemed like her beast was really spoiled by her. She actually had such thoughts. Beloved master, your darling has also advanced. Darling jumped into Lung Ruox's arms with a whoosh and said coquettishly. Yes, Darling is so powerful. You are already a level 6 legendary beast, Lung Ruoxue praised. Master! Charm also jumped into Lung Ruox's arms and lay down. Charm is already level 8. Not bad, Lung Ruoxue said happily. Then she carefully examined her other beasts. She was quite satisfied with one look because almost all her beasts had advanced to level 1 to 2. Even the little silver wolf and little fire lion, which she had always regarded as children, had advanced to legendary beast. However, Big sister. Silver Maple and Yen happily surrounded Lung Ruoxue and acted coquettishly. Boo! They were finally legendary beasts. They could be considered adults in Big Sister's eyes now. Not bad. Lung Ruoxue nodded with satisfaction. She had higher expectations for these two little fellows, so they had been cultivating diligently in the space gloomily. Baby, what's the matter with you? Lung Ruoxue walked to Baby's side, bent down, picked it up, and asked with some heartache. Baby was her first beast. However, later on, her beasts increased, so her impression of Baby decreased a little. However, she had always been paying attention to Baby's emotions. Big sister, I didn't advance, Baby said sadly. Boo! It hadn't been able to advance since it slept for a long time last time and advanced one level. It was so jealous and sad seeing the other beasts advance like they were sitting on a rocket. So what? Baby didn't advance, probably because it needed too much spiritual power. Baby, don't be anxious. Lung Ruoxue comforted and looked at the other little thing that also didn't change much. Fortunately, Ball wasn't as depressed as Baby. Ball quickly flew over when it sensed Lung Ruoxue's gaze. Its chubby and fluffy little body rubbed Lung Ruoxue's beautiful face warmly a few times, and then it snuggled up to Lung Ruoxue's pink neck and said coquettishly, Big sister, Ball has a lot more energy in its body, but Ball can't use it now. It's okay. All that energy is in Ball's body anyway. It will be Ball sooner or later, Lung Ruoxue comforted. Ball was a carefree optimist, so she was not worried that it would become depressed because of this. Yes, Ball answered happily, trying its best to nod its round little head. Shuer, are you done with your advancement? Lung Qingtian and the others walked over and asked in surprise. They searched several times but found nothing. It's over. Lung Ruoxue was a little speechless. Did these people go on a mental journey? They didn't even hear the huge commotion just now? When did this happen? Why didn't we see it? Lin Liang said foolishly. At this moment, he was still thinking about the yellow crystal root. Your attention is elsewhere. Several black lines rolled down Lung Ruoxue's forehead as she said helplessly. Shuer, is this your true appearance? Zero asked in amazement. He knew that Shuer and the others had been taking appearance-changing pills, so he had never seen their true appearance. Shuer, why did you recover your appearance? Lung Qingtian asked in puzzlement. He wouldn't have noticed it if she hadn't mentioned it. Yes, it's not easy to look good when the freak and I decide to stay at home, Lung Ruoxue said with a naughty smile. Plus, I don't want to change my appearance anymore. Can you give me an antidote? Old Man Zhao said ingratiatingly. He had seen this ugly appearance for months and was a little tired of it. No. Lung Ruoxue refused without thinking. Old Man Zhao asked with a bitter face. Chapter 500. The Next Unlucky One 4. Because your strength is too low. You're still a mystic, Lung Ruoxue said with a light smile. Boo! I don't have a drop-dead gorgeous appearance. No one will be interested in a disheveled old man. Old Man Zhao was really regretful. If he hadn't been curious back then, why would he have taken an appearance-changing pill? Even though his appearance was ordinary in the past, he was at least much better than this. Old Man Zhao, I won't give you the antidote unless you can advance to Mystic Monarch. Lung Ruoxue smiled evilly. Who asked you to ignore me? You're not going to be confused. Isn't the appearance-changing pill only effective for 3 months? I'll be fine if I don't take it again when the effects wear off this time. Therefore, you can't threaten me because it will take a long time for me to advance to Mystic Monarch. Old Man Zhao said proudly. Oh, is that so? I forgot to tell you that the appearance-changing pill I gave you last time has no expiration date. Therefore, unless you take the antidote, you will live with this face for the rest of your lives. Lung Ruoxue said calmly. She was already laughing in her heart seeing Old Man Zhao deflated. Old Man Zhao must be speechless this time. This is impossible. Old Man Zhao didn't believe Lung Ruoxue at all. His sixth sense told him that she was teasing him. What's impossible? I found it too troublesome to take it once every 3 months, so I increased the dosage and refined it some more. These are all without a deadline, so you don't have to worry about not taking the medicine in time and exposing your true appearance. Lung Ruoxue said with a light smile. Shuer, are you kidding me? I'm your biological grandfather. Lung Qingtian asked in disbelief after hearing Lung Ruoxue's words. Boo! Was his precious granddaughter playing with them? In fact, he originally planned to not eat it until the appearance-changing pill's efficacy expired. However, he didn't expect to hear such a terrible waste. Grandpa, I'm doing this for your own good. I'm afraid that Su Qian will recognize you. But don't worry. I'll give you the antidote immediately as long as you reach the strength of the mystic monarch. I promise. Lung Ruoxue promised very seriously. Lass, you and little Chun Chen haven't reached the mystic monarch yet. Isn't it more dangerous for you to recover your looks now than for us? Old man Zhao said stubbornly. Boo! This naughty girl is bullying the old man. We only recovered at home. We will also change our appearance if we go outside, Lung Ruoxue said with a smile. Plus? Then let's use our original appearance at home. It'll be easy to go out. Old man Zhao discussed. That would be a waste of pills. Alas. It's not easy for Qingju and Little Black to plant some herbs. Why don't they know how to be thrifty? Lung Ruoxue pretended to be displeased. In fact, she was already laughing in her heart. Haha, let's see if we can't deal with you this time. Lung Qingtian and the others were depressed. Shuer, you're too good at this. Boo! How could they know that Lung Ruoxue wanted to teach them a lesson because they were only focused on finding herbs just now? Ha! Freak, let's go back. Lung Ruoxue said with a light smile. Then, with a thought, she stored everyone and the beasts in the bracelet while she and the freak sat on the little peacock's back again and let it carry them out of the deep stream. After entering the bracelet, Lung Qingtian and the others were still comforting themselves. It's okay. We're all old men. This doesn't matter. Yes, I've been watching it for months. I'm used to it. Hurry up and cultivate, and you can recover your original appearance as soon as possible. Empty had been listening to their self-pity, but in the end he really couldn't listen anymore and said directly. There was a moment of silence when everyone heard that. However, everyone swore in their hearts that they had to cultivate the mystic monarch realm as soon as possible. Therefore, everyone became more attentive to cultivation from now on. This was also something Lung Ruoxue did not expect at first. This was probably what was meant by unintentional planting a willow. After Lung Ruoxue and the freak flew up to the deep stream, they found the two butlers standing obediently in the yard waiting for them. The two butlers felt the sound behind them and immediately turned their heads. However, they found a stunning man and woman they did not know, and a familiar peacock standing in front of them. They were stunned and did not speak for a long time. Head butler, are you looking for me? Lung Ruoxue asked with some amusement. You are... The main butler rubbed his eyes and said uncertainly. Who was this woman? Why did her voice sound identical to his young miss? I'm Lung Ruoxue, Lung Ruoxue said calmly. Why are the young miss? Oh my god. Did you eat any divine pills or spirit herbs? How did you become a stunning beauty all of a sudden? The second butler exclaimed in fright. This was too exciting. You are the young miss? The head butler said doubtfully, looking Lung Ruoxue up and down fiercely. Their voices were very similar, and their temperaments were very similar, but there was no resemblance between their figures and faces. Yes, I took an appearance-changing pill previously. This is my true appearance now. Lung Ruoxue explained. Oh. The two of them understood. No wonder the young miss wanted to take the appearance-changing pill. With their young miss beauty that could topple countries, who knew how many people would target her if she didn't change her appearance? The young miss and the others were not very strong. That meant endless trouble. Miss, when did you come out of seclusion? The head butler asked curiously after calming down. They were here to look for Lung Qingtian and the others, but there was no reaction in the room. Moreover, they didn't dare to barge in, so they waited in the yard for a while. They didn't expect to see their Mississippi just now. By the way, why are you here? Lung Ruoshu asked. It's like this. We're here to tell Master Lung. Everyone is awake, the head butler said carefully. Alas, he didn't know if Miss would be angry after knowing about this. Oh, then let them all come over. I'll meet them, Lung Ruoshu said after some thought. Then she pulled the freak to find a place in the yard to sit down. Chapter 501. The Next Unlucky One, 5. Yes. The head butler turned to call for help while the second butler carefully stayed by Lung Ruoxu's side to wait on her. Second butler, are you afraid of me? Lung Ruoxu couldn't help teasing the nervous second butler. And no, the second butler said with a slight tremble. Boo! Why was the pressure on him getting stronger? He didn't dare to look directly at Lung Ruoxu now. Second butler, wait aside first. Well, call you if there's anything, the freak said coldly. He was very displeased with the second butler's shy reaction, so he was jealous again. Pfft. The freak's reaction made Lung Ruoxu couldn't help but chuckle. Hee, why was the freak so cute? How dare you laugh at me? The freak rolled his eyes at Lung Ruoxu and said with slight displeasure. Boo! Schwer was also a disaster. Hee. Lung Ruoxu smiled even more happily. She even stole a kiss on his lips while the freak was not paying attention. Schwer! The freak's obsidian-like bright eyes burned with care and passion as he stared at Schwer affectionately. Lung Ruoxu also looked back at the freak lovingly. Ahem! The head butler, who had been back for a while, coughed awkwardly. Then he hurriedly lowered his head, not daring to look at Lung Ruoxu and the freak. The people behind him also turned their heads tacitly, trying to minimize their presence. You're here. Find a place to sit. Lung Ruoxu ended her affectionate gaze with the freak and looked at everyone awkwardly. Yes, miss, everyone answered. Some of them had already seen Lung Ruoxu once, and some were seeing Lung Ruoxu for the first time. However, on the way here, the head butler had already told them about the situation of the young miss and wanted them to be mentally prepared. However, they were still stunned when they first saw the beauty of Lung Ruoxu and the freak because these two were not ordinarily beautiful. They were basically 10,000-year-old demons. Cheng Wu, tell me about the situation in Myriad Mountain City. Lung Ruoxu's beautiful eyes gently swept over everyone and said, she had heard from the main butler that she wanted to hear what others thought of Myriad Mountain City now. Miss, please take a look. This is the map of Myriad Mountain City. Cheng Wu composed himself, stood up, and took out a slightly yellowed beast skin scroll from his ring, placing it on the stone table in front of Lung Ruoxu and the freak. Oh! Lung Ruoxu looked at the map and answered lightly. Miss, Myriad Mountain City is actually divided into the inner and outer cities. The relatively safe place when you just enter Myriad Mountain City is called the inner city by us. That place has always been occupied by the 5 major forces. At the same time, that place is also the most prosperous place in the business circulation of 10,000 Mountain City. If we want to transact, we have to enter the inner city. Moreover, the price of selling things to the 5 major forces has been forced downwards. The sphere of influence we are currently in is called the outer city. Not only are there few resources here, but the number of people here is several times that of the inner city, so life is relatively difficult. Therefore, many forces have to rely on the 5 major forces because of life. Cheng Wu explained. But I heard that many mystic supremacies also live in the outer city, right? Lung Ruoxu asked casually. Yes, Mississippi. The mystic supremacies are very powerful. The 5 major factions would not dare to provoke them unless they were absolutely confident. Moreover, generally, all mystic supremacies are loners. They rarely establish factions. Moreover, the mystic supremacies are very rich, so they naturally won't have any burden. However, we are different. Many people brought their families to Myriad Mountain City for an adventure. Comparatively, life is even more difficult. The situation of the factions with fewer people can still be better, Cheng Wu said. Why can't we transact in the outer city? Lung Ruoxu asked in puzzlement. Because the 5 major factions don't allow it, They want to firmly grasp the business of Myriad Mountain City in their hands, so they will immediately kill anyone mercilessly as soon as they discover that someone is conducting transactions in the outer city. No one will dare to transact in the outer city after a long time. Cheng Wu said very patiently. His situation was relatively good among all the factions, mainly because he didn't have many subordinates. If he took in everyone he saw like Wang Long, then he would probably not be able to eat anymore. Oh, is there anyone else you want to add? Leng Ruoxue looked at everyone. Miss, beautiful women are very unsafe in Myriad Mountain City, a young man added. Anything else? Leng Ruoxue continued to ask. Alas, a woman with low strength but stunning beauty would probably not be safe anywhere. Miss, there are many rules in Myriad Mountain City. Moreover, many are set by the 5 great factions. Moreover, they order us to follow them. Another person said. What rules? Give me an example. Leng Ruoxue asked curiously. She had never heard of the Myriad Mountain City having its own rules. However, these rules seem to have been passed down for many years and not set by a particular faction. For example, the rules state that we have to pay head tax every year. This is very stressful for the factions with a large number of people. The person continued. It was because of this that many factions later on didn't dare to casually take in people unless they were true experts. What does this have to do with them? The Myriad Mountain City doesn't belong to just anyone. Leng Ruoxue frowned and said speechlessly. Did these 5 factions treat themselves as the masters of a city? They had to pay a head tax. The strong are respected in Myriad Mountain City. Whoever has the biggest fist is the one who decides. The person said. These were the words that the 5 major factions often said. Oh. Leng Ruoxue answered lightly and lowered her head in thought. Miss, what should we do next? Cheng Wu couldn't help asking anxiously when he saw that everyone was almost done talking. Tell me, how determined are you to change the situation? Leng Ruoxue looked up at everyone after a while. As long as Miss leads us, we will definitely be able to defeat the 5 great factions and build a new Myriad Mountain City. Cheng Wu said with high fighting spirit. Chapter 502, The Next Unlucky One, 6. In fact, for many years, there had always been people who wanted to replace the 5 major factions and change the current situation in Myriad Mountain City, but they had not succeeded. That was mainly because no one had Leng Ruoxue's extravagance and boldness. Otherwise, if they had united early and not governed by themselves, Myriad Mountain City would probably not be what it was now. Unfortunately, they were not united in the past, and no one had Leng Ruoxue's cohesion and determination. However, Cheng Wu was absolutely unwilling to let go of such an opportunity now. Moreover, it could be said that all of them had never been so united. You have to remember that I'm just a passerby in Myriad Mountain City. I won't stay here forever, so what you're doing isn't for me, but for yourselves and even for your descendants. Leng Ruoxue's beautiful eyes looked around at everyone and reminded them. Yes, Mississippi. We know, Cheng Wu and the others said hurriedly. The head butler had told them this a long time ago, and they knew that this was a very rare opportunity to change their fate. Very good. Which of you will introduce me to the 5 major factions? Leng Ruoxue said. Miss, the 5 major forces are mainly the forces of the Yu family, the Ni family, the Zhao family, the Fong family, and the Yu family. Among them, the Yu family is the strongest and is the leader of the 5 major forces. The Yu family is the weakest, and the other 3 families are not too different in strength, Cheng Wu said after some thought. What's the relationship between the 5 families? Leng Ruoxue continued asking. The 5 great factions might not seem to have a good relationship on the surface, but once something happens, the 5 families will immediately form an alliance to face the enemy together, Cheng Wu continued. Oh. Leng Ruoxue nodded thoughtfully and chose her first target after some thought. The Yu family. I've decided to deal with the Yu family first, Leng Ruoxue said calmly. Ah. Half of the people fell from their seats to the ground when Leng Ruoxue spoke. Moreover, almost everyone looked at her in disbelief. Your expressions are so strange, Lung Ruoxue smiled spuriously and said knowingly to the consultant, "Alas. She just said that she wanted to deal with the Yu family. Did they have to react like this? Miss, the Yu family is the strongest of the 5 major forces." Cheng Wu couldn't help reminding as he wiped the cold sweat off his forehead. "I know. Haven't you heard of a saying, to capture bandits, first capture the leader? That's why I want to deal with the Yu family." Lung Ruoxue said with a light smile. Actually, she obviously didn't want to deal with the Yu family because of this, but, Miss, the Yu family is very difficult to deal with. Moreover, they have mystic supremacy as their guardian. Cheng Wu quickly explained. "Oh, it's okay. I won't fight them head-on," Lung Ruoxue said with a light smile. She was not stupid, so she naturally would not take the initiative to provoke mystic supremacy. At most, she would just make use of him. "Miss, what exactly do you want?" Cheng Wu asked in puzzlement, 2 drops of cold sweat dripping down his forehead. "Heaven's secrets cannot be revealed. You will know when the time comes." Lung Ruoxue smiled mysteriously and kept them in suspense. "Miss, what should we do?" Cheng Wu asked after some thought. "Well, talk about it when the time comes," Lung Ruoxue said with a naughty smile. Even though she had a rough outline of the plan, she still had to discuss the details with her grandfather and the others. Moreover, she still lacked the critical trump card in the plan. A yes. Everyone revealed puzzled expressions and couldn't help thinking in their hearts. Could it be that Miss didn't have any plans at all? Leave if there's nothing else. I would like to rest. Lung Ruoxue began to chase them away. "Yes, Miss." 2 drops of cold sweat dripped down everyone's foreheads as they thought, "It's not dark yet, and we're going to rest?" However, they still obediently exited the back mountain. After they left, Lung Ruoxue moved her grandfather and the others out. "Shuer, what's your next plan?" Lung Qingtian asked impatiently after finding a place to sit down. "Grandpa, there are very few women in Myriad Mountain City, right? Especially beautiful women?" Lung Ruoxue asked. Probably. But Shuer, what does this have to do with your plan?" Lung Qingtian was confused. What did Shuer mean? Lass, don't tell me you want to try a honey trap? 5 birds with 1 stone. Old man Zhao smiled wretchedly. "I want to. But the beauty that can make the 5 factions compete for her is nowhere to be found." Lung Ruoxue sighed softly and said with slight helplessness, "Beauty traps were the best at all times and places. Unfortunately, where was the beauty?" In fact, after hearing what Cheng Wu said, she had doubts about the relationship between the 5 major forces. The 5 major forces might not seem to have a good relationship usually, but they could always be united at critical moments. This could only mean one thing, and that was that the discord between the 5 major forces was only for show, for outsiders to see. In fact, the relationship between the 5 major forces was far from what outsiders thought. What she needed to do most now was to destroy the unity within them. Only then would she have a chance. Who said not? Isn't there one in front of us? Old man Zhao looked at Lung Ruoxue and smiled evilly. If this girl was willing to help, any man would be easy to capture. No! Before Lung Ruoxue could say anything, the freak stood up murderously and glared at the disheveled old man who came up with the rotten idea while roaring furiously. Little Chin, calm down. This is just a scheme. We won't really let her seduce another man. Old man Zhao quickly coaxed. Boo! How could he have forgotten about this jealous lover? It's over now. Little Chun will definitely bear a grudge. That won't do either, the freak roared angrily. He couldn't even bear to think about it, let alone really going. How could Shuer's beauty be appreciated by other men? What's the rush? I don't intend to be that femme fatale. Lung Ruoxue comforted helplessly. Really? Don't lie to me. The freak reminded worriedly, his obsidian-like eyes full of anticipation. Chapter 503, Fishing a Small Fish, 1. I'm not lying to you. Lung Ruoxue promised like she was coaxing a child. Alas. She really hadn't thought of herself as the beauty in the plan. To be precise, she was not suitable. That's good. The freak was relieved to hear Schwer's promise. Plus, apart from you, we don't have any extra women here now. Old Man Zao reminded her. The women in the village were not good. They were not good-looking enough. Who said so? Isn't Big Sister Linger a woman? Lung Ruoxue smiled evilly and moved Feng Linger out of the bracelet. Damn, Old Man Zao, have you never treated me as a woman? Feng Linger immediately placed her little wings on her waist and roared at Old Man Zao fiercely as soon as she emerged. Ah! Old Man Zao was speechless as he looked at the fierce little red bird in front of him. In fact, he had indeed never treated Feng Linger as a woman. That was because Feng Linger had always been a bird in his heart. You've nothing to say now? Feng Linger continued to roar furiously. Big Sister Linger, stop messing with him. We're discussing serious business. Lung Ruoxue said helplessly. Okay. Feng Linger replied and flew onto Lung Ruoxue's shoulder. Lass, don't tell me you really intend to use Lass Linger? Old Man Zao looked at Feng Linger and asked in disbelief. Lass Linger was too fierce. If he were to be the female lead in the honey trap, the man would probably be scared away. Sister Ruoxue, I can't. My partner will be jealous, Feng Linger said with a sad face. Don't worry, I don't intend to use you to carry out this plan. Cold sweat dripped down Lung Ruoxue's forehead. Beasts could transform into human form, but they were not real humans after all. And with the beast's understanding of humans, they would probably be exposed before the mission was completed. Then who do you intend to use? The beasts in the space are not suitable. They are too pure. Feng Linger racked her brains but couldn't think of anyone suitable to carry out this plan. Someone is very suitable. Lung Ruoxue said with a naughty smile, her beautiful eyes flashing with a scheming expression. Who? Everyone asked in unison. Moreover, the word curious was written all over their faces. Empty. Like a clap of thunder, Lung Ruoxue's words stunned everyone. Old Man Zao even fell to the ground exaggeratedly. Lass, who are you talking about? Old Man Zao got up from the ground and rubbed his arm that was hurting from the fall. He widened his eyes and asked uncertainly, did he hear it wrong? Did Lass say empty? Empty was obviously a man? How could he carry out a honey trap? Empty. I don't think there's anyone more suitable than him. Lung Ruoxue said with a smile. Schwer, he won't agree, Lung Qingtian said in realization. How could such a noble man be willing to pretend to be a woman? I'll think of a way to convince him, Lung Ruoxue said confidently. Then I wish you success. Old Man Zao said sympathetically. Alas, wouldn't he be driven mad if he knew that she wanted him to act as a woman? Perhaps Empty knows already. Wait for my good news. Freak, let's go find Empty. Lung Ruoxue stood up and said to the freak. Okay. The freak was very cooperative. Hee, as long as it wasn't him pretending to be a woman. With a thought, Lung Ruoxue and the freak disappeared into thin air. In the bracelet, Lung Ruoxue, the freak, and Empty sat on a stone bench in the garden, staring at each other. No one spoke first. Empty, I have a plan that I need your help with. Lung Ruoxue said after a long silence. She did not seal off the communication between the bracelet and the outside world when she was discussing the plan with her grandfather and the others in the yard just now, so she believed that he should have known about it long ago. However, he pretended to be stupid in front of her. How evil! Nothing else would be a problem as long as you don't want me to pretend to be a woman. He tried to shut Lung Ruoxue up before she could speak. I do want you to pretend to be a woman, Lung Ruoxue said with a smile. No. Empty spat out. You have to do it even if you can't. It has to be you no matter what. Lung Ruoxue said domineeringly. He would definitely be a drop-dead gorgeous beauty if he dressed up as a woman. She was really looking forward to it. Do you want to do it forcefully? Empty pouted aggrievedly. Yes, so you better be sensible and agree to my request. Otherwise, don't blame me for being too rough. Lung Ruoxue threatened with a smile. Little Chen, Your woman is threatening me. Empty turned his gaze to Yi Qin and complained with slight displeasure. Indulge her then. It won't cost you anything. The freak naturally stood on his wife's side and advised. No, I don't want others to see me. Empty swore that he would not yield. Boo. This was too embarrassing. Empty, you're an adult now. You can't be so shy all the time. It's time to go out and meet people. Lung Ruoxue suppressed her smile and said earnestly. I don't want to. I think my current status is good. Anyway, I don't want so many people to see me. Empty said resolutely. Don't worry, no one will know that it's you. Everyone will only think that you are a woman. Lung Ruoxue promised. I don't want to be a woman. Empty objected resolutely. No, no one wants you to be a woman. This is only part of the plan. It's only temporary, Lung Ruoxue coaxed. Then, how long will it take? Empty asked very reluctantly. Boo. Icy and him have been eating and staying for free. In fact, he was a little embarrassed and wanted to do more for them. However, did he really have to sacrifice his male body? That will depend on whether the plan goes smoothly. However, it shouldn't take long. Moreover, the freak and I will be by your side, so don't worry, no one will take advantage of you, Lung Ruoxue said after some thought. That's not what I'm worried about. Empty roared furiously. No one had dared to take advantage of him yet. He just couldn't accept being a woman acting coquettishly to a man. Chapter 504, Fishing a Small Fish 2. Then what are you worried about? Lung Ruoxue was puzzled. Shuer, why do you insist on me pretending to be a woman? Empty asked helplessly. Boo. There were ready-made women whom she was not going to use but would rather have him impose instead. You're very beautiful. Lung Ruoxue looked Empty up and down and couldn't help but exclaim. He's also very beautiful. Why don't you let him pretend to be a woman? Empty asked with slight dissatisfaction as he pointed at the freak. This man was more coquettish than him. He was definitely better at pretending to be a woman than him. Not him. Lung Ruoxue's forehead was full of black lines. If she let the freak pretend to be a woman, those men would probably see God before they even got close. Why not? I think he's very suitable. Empty looked at the freak carefully. Well, the more he looked, the more satisfied he was. His figure, temperament, and temper are all not good. You are the most suitable. Lung Ruoxue said with certainty. It was because he was an energy body and had always been injured, so his figure now was not as strong as that of a normal man. Instead, he looked a little weak. He was slightly taller than ordinary women, but just this weak body that seemed to collapse with a gust of wind was enough to arouse the protection of any man. Moreover, after this period of cultivation, his current body was basically solidified, and he didn't need to float around like a ghost anymore. Which man could refuse a pale and slightly sickly beautiful appearance coupled with this small body? Alas! Empty looked at the freak and then at himself. Then he sighed helplessly. It seemed like it was true. Empty, you have to believe in my taste. No one is more suitable than you. Lung Ruoxue said with a light smile. Hee, what she wanted was a sickly beauty. Alas. All right then. Empty nodded slightly and agreed helplessly. Boo. Who asked him to live under someone else's roof? Haha, let's begin our new plan tomorrow. Lung Ruoxue said happily, seeing that her goal had been achieved. After settling everything, Lung Ruoxue discussed her plan with her grandfather and the others. Then she summoned the main butler and Cheng Wu, gave them some instructions, and the plan officially began. On a certain evening, 2 women and a man appeared on the streets of Myriad Mountain City. The woman in the lead had a drop-dead gorgeous face, but her face was a little pale as if she had yet to recover from a serious illness. The 2 servants beside her were extremely ugly. Miss, we just entered the city and are unfamiliar with the road. Why don't we find a better inn to stay in first? The ugly maidservant said loudly, immediately attracting the attention of many pedestrians. Ru, what have I been teaching you? Girls shouldn't speak so loudly. Otherwise, you won't be able to marry in the future. The stunning woman sighed and said earnestly, "It's okay. He'll marry a man then. It's the same." The ugly maidservant said nonchalantly, "Alas. That's good too. I'll keep an eye out for you when I have the chance." The stunning woman covered her pink lips with her jade-like hands and said helplessly, "Thank you, miss." The maidservant thanked her happily. "Miss, shouldn't we find a inn?" The male attendant beside her gritted his teeth while suppressing his anger. Alas. My memory hasn't been good recently, and I can't remember people and things I've seen. It's all thanks to you guys by my side." The stunning woman pursed her lips and smiled. That was really a smile that could overthrow cities and topple countries. The pedestrians around them had long been charmed by that beautiful smile that even the heaven and earth paled in comparison. Moreover, a growing audience watched them, and almost everyone's expressions were the same: amazement and disbelief. "Miss, why are they surrounding us?" the maidservant asked in puzzlement. "I don't know. Let's find in quickly. It's going to be dark soon," the stunning woman said calmly. "Miss, do you want to stay in the inn? Come to our Ni Family's Inn." The waiter from the Ni Family's Inn said with amazement on his face. Moreover, he secretly decided that he had to keep this beauty in his shop no matter what. "Miss, you can't stay in the Ni Family's Inn. That's a black inn. Of course, you have to stay in our Zhao Family's Inn." At this moment, the waiter from the Zhao Family's Inn also said, unwilling to be outdone, "It would be good to see such a great beauty every day even if you couldn't have her. Damn it, your Zhao family runs a black shop. The things sold inside are so expensive. Miss, you mustn't be fooled." The Ni family's waiter retaliated, and the two of them began to tear down each other. "Miss, which house should we live in? I think these two families aren't that great," the maidservant said, very displeased. I'm not sure either." The absolutely beautiful woman frowned slightly, her beautiful face full of distress. Since you can't make up your mind, miss, of course you won't stay with either of them. Come and stay in our Yu family's inn." At this moment, a young man's voice sounded from the crowd. Immediately after, the man pushed through the crowd and came in front of the master and servants. "You are..." The absolutely beautiful woman revealed a puzzled expression as she sized up the man in front of her. She saw that the man was around 30 years old. He was tall, had handsome features, and had an extraordinary bearing. Strength. He might only be a mystic monarch, but the domineering aura of a superior was undoubtedly revealed. The arguing waiter immediately fell silent after he stood there. "I am Yukun. May I know your name, miss?" Yukun said very politely. "Pfft." The ugly maidservant couldn't help but chuckle when she heard the man announce his identity. What are you laughing about? How rude." The stunning woman pretended to be displeased as she glared at her maidservant. Then she looked at Yukun apologetically and said, "I'm sorry, young master Yu. My maidservant doesn't know the rules. Please don't take it to heart." No. May I know Miss' name?" How could Yukun be in the mood to bicker with a maidservant? His mind was full of this great beauty in front of him. Chapter 505. Fishing a Small Fish, 3. Lung Wuxin, the stunning woman said lightly. "Lung Wuxin, what a good name. Miss Lung is from the Lung family." Yukun deliberately said half a sentence and left the rest to Lung Wuxin to continue. "Don't mention the Lung family to me. Alas. A body like mine really isn't worthy," Lung Wuxin said with slight sadness. Tears welled up in his beautiful eyes, making Yukun's heart ache. Hee, every family has its difficulties. I understand. I won't ask Miss Lung about sad things in the future," Yukun said very understandingly. However, he had long determined in his heart that this Lung Wuxin was the young lady of the Lung family. He reckoned that she was not valued in the Lung family because of her poor health. "Thank you for your understanding, young master Yu." Lung Wuxin smiled lightly. "Of course." Yukun composed himself and said quickly. He had been captured by Lung Wuxin's beautiful smile. "Miss, we haven't found our inn yet," the maidservant suddenly reminded. Lung Wuxin became distressed again and frowned. Yukun's heart clenched when she frowned slightly. It's a small matter. I told you, Miss Lung can stay in our Yu family's inn. Did you forget so quickly? Yukun said with slight dissatisfaction. That's too troublesome. How can I do that? Lung Wuxin's cheeks were slightly red as he said shyly. How can it be troublesome? My family runs an inn, and you are a guest. How can it be troublesome? Yukun said hurriedly. Then I won't refuse. Lung Wuxin smiled lightly. Miss, please follow me. After speaking, Yukun led Lung Wuxin and her two servants straight to their own inn and very eagerly helped them book a room. He finally left reluctantly, looking back every 3 steps. In the guest room, Lung Wuxin lay on the soft bed, panting heavily. Empty, pay attention to your image as the eldest young lady. Yukun will come at any time, the ugly maidservant, Lung Ruoxue, said impatiently. Ever since the plan began, Lung Ruoxue left Myriad Mountain City undercover. Then she deliberately found an evening with a lot of passers-by and walked back in with the freak and Empty. In fact, she deliberately spoke loudly on the streets just now to attract the attention of others. Now, it seemed that the effect was good. At least, the fish took the bait smoothly. So what? I still have to sleep and fart. Empty said nonchalantly. He was already very depressed being dressed as a woman. Couldn't he be more at ease when there was no one around? Boo. Was it too late to regret now? Swear, let him do whatever he wants, the freak said sympathetically. Fortunately, he didn't have to pretend to be a woman. Otherwise, he would have to bang his head against the wall in frustration. All right. Lung Ruoxue said helplessly. Alas. She also knew that there were great sacrifices for the sake of the plan, but there was nothing she could do. Swear, send me into the space. I'm not used to sleeping here, Empty said. He found that lying on the soft bed was not comfortable at all. Okay, Lung Ruoxue answered and sent Empty into the bracelet. Swear, what should we do? Without the third wheel, the freak gently pulled Lung Ruoxue into his arms. His face was full of anticipation, and his black starry eyes began to glow again. Stop. Freak, don't look at me like this now. I'll vomit, Lung Ruoxue said, a little unbearable. Oh my God, it was really too terrifying. Swear, you despise me again. Boo. I didn't even despise you. The freak said aggrievedly. I don't despise you. It's just that your current appearance is really not suitable to make such an enchanting expression. It's too horrifying. Lung Ruoxue felt her hair stand on end. Hee, what expression should I be wearing now? The freak teased with a chuckle. An expression like... Before Lung Ruoxue could finish speaking, there was a knock on the door. Who is it? The freak asked angrily with some dissatisfaction. I'm a waiter from the inn. Our young master asked me to deliver some food to Miss Lung. The waiter outside the door replied fearfully. Oh, just leave it here. The freak opened the door impatiently and pointed at a table not far away. Yes, isn't Miss Lung around? The waiter asked cautiously. Boo. Why was this man so fierce? He really didn't know how he had offended this ugly man. What? My young miss isn't someone you can see just because you want to, the freak glared and said irritably. No, my young master wants me to tell Miss Lung something. The waiter was so scared that he was about to cry. It's the same if you say it to me, the freak said coldly with a light eyelid. All right. Young master said he will come and see Miss Lung tomorrow, the waiter said helplessly and quickly disappeared after speaking. Is there a need to specially pass on such a sentence? The freak murmured to himself after closing the door. Freak, what are you muttering about? Lung Ruoxue walked to the freak's side and asked curiously. I'm talking about that Yukun. It's really strange. He can come tomorrow if he wants, and specially got a waiter to pass the message. The freak explained. This is to show that he values our young miss. It's also a hint. Lung Ruoxue said with a light smile and looked at the sumptuous food on the table. Looks like Yukun was quite sensible. A hint. The freak didn't understand. In fact, he really didn't know much about how men chased after women. Yes, I think he will take the initiative to invite us to his house in a few days, Lung Ruoxue guessed. No way. So fast? The freak was a little skeptical. Not very fast. The entire Myriad Mountain City will know tomorrow that a stunning beauty came to the city. Rumor has it that she's the young lady of the Lung family. Think about it, how many love rivals will this identity attract to Yukun? How can he not be afraid? Lung Ruoxue analyzed. Chapter 506, Fishing a Small Fish 4. That's true. The freak said after some thought. Freak, rest early today. It should be very lively tomorrow, Lung Ruoxue said. Yes. The freak nodded slightly. The next day, as Lung Ruoxue had expected, many people came to ask to see Lung Wuxin. Lung Wuxin's reputation became even more resounding after he chose to receive them. On the third day, the fourth day, for several days, the Yu family's inn was full. Moreover, Lung Wuxin could definitely be found wherever there were many people. Miss, wake up. Don't scare me. Boo-hoo. Suddenly, Lung Wuxin, who was surrounded in the crowd, fainted, and her maidservant cried out in fright. In the main hall of the inn, Yukun, who was blocked outside the crowd, pushed everyone aside anxiously. He stretched out his long arm and hugged Lung Wuxin, who had fainted on the ground, tightly. He was so excited that he couldn't find his bearings. Boo! His sheener smelled so good. Who are you? Lung Wuxin, who had woken up slowly, asked in puzzlement, his beautiful little face full of confusion. Ah! Yukun was stunned, and he thought to himself, what illness does Sheener have? Why does she have such a poor memory? She often asks who he is. Miss, you're finally awake, the maidservant beside her said with a worried face, her eyes still brimming with tears. Where is this place? Lung Wuxin's clear eyes were full of doubts and puzzlement as she asked softly. Miss, did you forget? We were in the Yu family's inn. There were too many people surrounding you just now, and you couldn't breathe properly, so you fainted, the maidservant explained. All of you disperse. Sheener isn't feeling well. Stop surrounding her, Yukun immediately ordered loudly. How could the surrounding people dare to stay here after young Master Yu spoke? They all ran away in the blink of an eye. Sheener, it's okay. They won't dare to bother you anymore. Yukun looked at Lung Wuxin gently and said affectionately. Moreover, in order to improve his relationship with Lung Wuxin, he even directly called out the name in his heart. Who are you? Do I know you? Lung Wuxin asked foolishly. Sheener, I'm Yukun. You're my... Yukun said anxiously, but he was interrupted before he could finish. Sheener, he is the young master of the Yu family's inn. Ni Fong, who had just entered the inn, happened to hear what Yukun wanted to say, so he spoke first. Oh, and who are you? Lung Wuxin asked curiously. He's the young master of the Ni family's black shop, the black shop you encountered when you just entered the city. Yukun provoked. Oh, I remember there was also a Zhao family's black shop. The waiters of those two shops even quarreled. How interesting, Lung Wuxin said happily. Yes. Yukun echoed with a smile, but he was very displeased in his heart. She remembered this clearly. She even remembered the two attendants, but she never remembered him. Fortunately, the others were not treated better than him, and this made him feel a little better. Sheener, him Ni Fong. You have to remember me. The refined Ni Fong introduced himself elegantly. How dare you call her Sheener? Yukun immediately exploded when he heard Ni Fong calling her that. If you can, why can't I? Ni Fong refused to be outdone. Sheener. Just as Yukun and Ni Fong were about to start a fight, another voice sounded in the main hall of the inn. Immediately, the flames in their eyes shot toward the owner of the voice. If looks could kill, the owner of the voice would probably be riddled with holes. What surprised them further was that Lung Wuxin dashed toward the man like a butterfly. Big Brother Ming. Lung Wuxin called out happily and hugged the man's arm affectionately. Crash. Upon hearing the word Big Brother Ming, Yukun and Ni Fang's hearts instantly shattered into several pieces, and the flames of anger in their hearts burned even more vigorously. Damn it, why did Sheener remember him? At this moment, they had long been blinded by jealousy, and they wanted to chop Zhao Ming into pieces in their hearts. Shiner, be careful. You're weak and shouldn't run, Zhao Ming said worriedly. However, his eyes glanced provocatively at Yu Kun and an Ifong. What a coincidence. Everyone is here today. Two young men walked in from the outside as the three of them competed silently. One of them said with a smile, "What are you doing here?" Zhao Ming looked at the two of them and said with slight displeasure, "Can't we come if you can?" Another man said nonchalantly, Of course you can. My family owns an inn, anyone can come." Yu Kun said with a laugh, looking at Zhao Ming provocatively. "You don't like them coming, so I insist on letting them come." "You are..." Lung Wuxin's beautiful face was full of question marks. "Sister Xin, Fong Yu," the incomparably handsome Fong Yu said mentally prepared. "I'm big brother Yu Tao," the tall Yu Tao said helplessly. "Oh, hello. Brother Ming wants to take me out to play. Let's go together." Lung Wuxin invited very warmly. "Okay." Everyone answered happily except for Zhao Ming, whose handsome face was black. In this way, Lung Wuxin, her two servants, and 5 men with their own thoughts went on a trip together. Their goal for this trip was naturally to climb the mountain. The mountain that Zhao Ming brought them to was located in the Zhao family's territory. The terrain was good, the environment was beautiful, and the air was fresh. It was one of the few beautiful sceneries in Myriad Mountain City. Lung Wuxin finally climbed to the top of the mountain and sat down on the ground. He was drenched in sweat and panting. His originally pale face was now flushed, and he looked even more beautiful. Chapter 507. A Gathering of Men 1. Zhao Ming, what are you thinking? You obviously know that Xiner's health isn't good, but you still brought her here to climb the mountain. Do you want to kill her? Yu Kun stared at Lung Wuxin, who was becoming more and more alluring, unblinkingly, and was the first to speak awkwardly. That's right. Look at how tired Shiner is, an Ifong said with heartache, his face full of amazement. I don't think you have any good intentions at all. If we didn't follow you, why did you bring little sister Shiner here alone? Fong Yu also had an expression that said, "You brat, don't have good intentions." Alas. Isn't it obvious? Fortunately, we came along. Otherwise, Sister Shiner would be in danger. Yu Tao added oil to the fire. What are you talking about? I'm the one who wants to climb the mountain. It has nothing to do with elder brother Ming. Lung Wuxin couldn't help speaking up for Zhao Ming. Shiner, you don't have to speak up for him. We know his thoughts. Yu Kun couldn't help roaring with some jealousy when he saw Zhao Ming's smug expression. I really wanted to come. Big brother Kun, you might not know this, but Xiner's illness requires wild ginseng, so I wanted to come to the mountain to see if I could find it. If I could find something 10,000 years old by chance, then Xiner's illness would be saved. Lung Wuxin explained faintly. Wild ginseng? A 10,000-year-old one? The word Big Brother Kun extinguished Yu Kun's jealousy and even made him a little smug. However, he still didn't miss out on the key word in Lung Wuxin's words. Must it take 10,000 years? Fong Yu said awkwardly. 10,000-year-old wild ginseng was not easy to find now. Yu Tao, doesn't your family have a pharmacy? Have you heard of any 10,000-year-old wild ginseng? Zhao Ming asked thoughtfully. 10,000-year-old wild ginseng? He seemed to have heard of it from someone. Where did it come from? Why couldn't he remember? I don't know either. I have to go home and ask, Yu Tao stammered. Shiner, don't worry. All the herbs in our Myriad Mountain City are in the hands of the Yu family. He will definitely be able to find them with his help, Yu Kun comforted with some heartache. Yes, thank you, Big Brother Yu. Lung Wuxin smiled gently. You're welcome, Yu Tao said hurriedly, feeling even better. Shiner also called him Big Brother. Shiner, you must be hungry, right? Eat something. At this moment, Zhao Ming took out various utensils and food that he had long prepared from his ring and placed them in front of Lung Wuxin. He said with concern, he couldn't let Xiner's attention be attracted by others. Big Brother Ming, I'm sorry. I can't eat the food outside. I can only eat the food made by my maidservant. Lung Wuxin carefully looked at Zhao Ming and said shyly. But Don't you have some dishes every day in the inn? These are your favorite. Zhao Ming said in disbelief. He had spent a lot of money to find out Lung Wuxin's preferences. He didn't expect the news to be all wrong. He was so angry. That's because Shiner is afraid that others will know her strange illness, so she wants to hide it from others. Shiner doesn't want to be treated as a monster. Ooh, Lung Wuxin explained with a choked voice as he looked at the puzzled 5 men. How can Shiner be a monster? Shiner is so beautiful, don't cry. The 5 men hurriedly comforted her. Alas, the Bowtie's crying broke their hearts. Shiner has been weak since childhood, so all the food I've eaten since childhood was carefully prepared by my maidservant. Even the raw materials for the food were specially planted by my family for me. They were afraid that the things outside would be unclean, and eating them would be bad for my health, Lung Wuxin explained. Where's my food? Lung Wuxin asked softly. She looked around for her maidservant after speaking. Miss, it's here. Lung Ruoxue, who was disguised as a maidservant, pushed away the 5 men surrounding Lung Wuxin and said, My food? Lung Wuxin said lightly. Yes. Lung Ruoxue took out the food she had prepared beforehand from her ring helplessly and placed them in front of Lung Wuxin. Yes, not bad. Lung Wuxin looked at the food in front of him and nodded with satisfaction. Yukun and the others were all speechless when they saw the food Lung Ruoxue took out. Heavens! This was too extravagant. Did Shiner eat these every day? Alas! Ordinary men really couldn't support her with this way of eating. Fortunately, they were not ordinary men. Moreover, such expensive food were rarely seen usually, they were even more sure of Lung Wuxin's identity. Probably no family could support her except for the Lung family, which was a super family. Miss, enjoy. Ro won't disturb you anymore. Lung Ruoxue retreated to a corner tactfully after speaking. The freak was naturally sitting in the corner waiting for her. Shuer, you must be exhausted, right? The freak hugged Lung Ruoxue and said with heartache. Damn it, Empty actually used a strike to threaten Shuer to cook so many dishes. I'm all right. Lung Ruoxue leaned comfortably in the freak's arms and said with a light smile. Shuer, which of these men do you think is sincere? The freak asked curiously as he looked at the 5 men not far away. None of them are sincere, Lung Ruoxue said disdainfully. During this period of time, Qing Ju had been monitoring the situation of the 5 major forces, so there were almost no secrets that could be hidden from her. These men might look decent, but they were actually nothing good. The freak was speechless. Then why were they so concerned? Freak, according to this situation, our plan will succeed quickly. Lung Ruoxue looked at the few people not far away and said with a light smile. Yes. The freak nodded. I'm tired. Let's go back. Lung Wuxin's voice sounded again after a while. Yes, miss, Lung Ruoxue answered quickly and pulled the freak to his feet. The 2 of them walked in Lung Wuxin's direction. I'm so full that I can't walk anymore. Why don't you ask little Yao to carry me down the mountain? Empty, who was pretending to be Lung Wuxin, said with a chuckle. Chapter 508. A Gathering of Men, 2. Little Yao. Lung Ruoxue and the freak were stunned and didn't react too well. What, Little Yao? Little Yao, I'm calling you. How dare you ignore me? Lung Wuxin pointed at the freak, his beautiful face full of displeasure. Me? The freak's forehead was full of black lines. Damn it, Empty actually gave him a random name. Shiner, why don't we change such a disobedient attendant? Any one of Big Brother Kun's servants is 100 times better than him. Yukun said coldly by the side, but he was so jealous of this ugly freak who could touch Shiner. Big Brother Kun, I appreciate your good intentions. I'm used to using this, Lung Wuxin said with an apologetic face as if he had offended Yukun greatly by not accepting his good intentions. Lung Ruoxue and the freak, who were standing by the side and listening, had 2 drops of cold sweat dripping down their foreheads. They thought, wasn't Empty a little too immersed in the show? Little Yao, come and carry me. Lung Wuxin shouted with a naughty smile. Miss, this isn't appropriate, the freak said with a cold face, not moving at all, not even frowning. How is it not suitable? Lung Wuxin asked in puzzlement. Well, why did he have a bad feeling? Was he being too paranoid? Have you forgotten what old madam said? Old madam said that men and women shouldn't touch each other. You have to marry me if I touch your body. Hee hee, I don't mind marrying a great beauty like Miss. I'm just afraid that you won't be willing. The freak shrugged with an innocent face. Lung Ruoxue was stunned after hearing what the freak said, and then she laughed hysterically in her heart. The freak was really too cute. He actually thought of such a reason. Hee hee, let's see what Empty can do this time. When did this happen? Why didn't I know? Lung Wuxin blinked and asked in confusion. Old madam told us when Miss was very young. Otherwise, why would Miss only have me as your attendant? The freak lied through his teeth. Old madam also said that any man who has touched my young Miss body will become the Lung family's son-in-law. It seems like the young masters have all interacted with my young Miss body, so you all have a chance to become the Lung family's son-in-law. The freak blinked his eyes and said very innocently. Lung Wuxin was dumbfounded. What was going on? He clearly wanted to mess with that freak. Why did it become a trap for him to jump into? Young masters, what are you waiting for? Hurry up and carry my young Miss down the mountain. The freak urged as he looked at the stunned men. Oh, Sheener, I'll carry you home. Yu-kun was the first to react. He hurriedly carried Lung Wuxin and ran away. He really didn't expect the Lung family to have such rules. This was really good news for him. After Yu-kun escaped with Lung Wuxin on his back, the other 4 people immediately reacted and began to pursue her relentlessly. At the same time, they were thinking in their hearts that they couldn't let Sheener fall into the hands of that big pervert Yu-kun. Freak, you are still the best. Lung Ruoxue looked at the few people who disappeared in the blink of an eye and couldn't help teasing with a light smile. This time, Empty was definitely going to be depressed to death. Didn't he want someone to carry him down the mountain? Look at how many people want to carry him now. The freak said with a naughty smile. Want to mess with him? Dream on. His body was only for Schwerer to enjoy. No one else was qualified. Freak, let's go too. Lung Ruoxue said with a smile. Okay. The freak gently hugged Lung Ruoxue and nodded. It was already evening when Lung Ruoxue and the freak slowly walked back to the inn. However, they were stopped outside the door before they could return to their rooms. Shopkeeper, what's the meaning of this? We did pay for the room, didn't we? Lung Ruoxue asked in puzzlement, her tone obviously displeased. You two are mistaken. I stopped you two just to tell you that your young miss is no longer staying in the inn, the shopkeeper said with a face full of smiles. What about my young miss? Lung Ruoxue asked the advisor. She's in the Yu family, of course. Miss Lung is the future young madam of the Yu family, so of course she can't stay in the inn. The shopkeeper explained. Young madam? Doesn't young master Yu already have a young madam? My young miss won't be a concubine. Lung Ruoxue deliberately said very arrogantly. Of course. In fact, our young master doesn't have any young madam. Those women are just concubines. They're not important, the shopkeeper quickly said ingratiatingly. Alas, he couldn't afford to offend the people around the future young madam. Shopkeeper, lead the way and bring us to the Yu family. Lung Ruoxue ordered. Please follow me. The shopkeeper bowed slightly. In his opinion, he had given them enough face. Lung Ruoxue and the freak followed the shopkeeper to the backyard of the inn. A flying spirit beast was already prepared in the backyard. The 3 of them sat on the spirit beast's back and flew directly toward the Yu family's main mountain. They arrived at their destination moments later. The 2 of you have already arrived. This is our Yu family's main mountain. How is it? It's very majestic and grand, right? This mountain is the largest and best in Myriad Mountain City. In the air, the shopkeeper pointed at the green mountain not far away from them and said with a face full of pride. It's not as beautiful as the mountain we just went to the Zhao family's residence. Lung Ruoxue pouted with dissatisfaction. How can that lousy mountain of the Zhao family compare to our Yu family? Our Yu family's mountain is the best in the entire Myriad Mountain City, the shopkeeper retorted. Old Wang sells his melons and praises himself. Who doesn't say that their things are good? Leng Ruoxue said nonchalantly. Ah. The shopkeeper was so angry that he almost fainted. Shopkeeper, can we land now? Leng Ruoxue reminded the shopkeeper, whose face had turned green from anger. However, she couldn't help feeling a little regretful. Alas, this shopkeeper's tolerance was quite strong. Okay. The shopkeeper gently patted the flying beast's head. The beast was so well trained that it found a spacious place and landed steadily. Chapter 509, A Gathering of Men, 3. I'm here on young master's orders to deliver Miss Lung's servants. Outside the Yu family's main residence, the shopkeeper took out a token and said to the guard guarding the door, Go in. The young master asked you to send them to the Heartless Garden. The guard let them pass without even looking at the signboard because he had just received the young master's order. Okay. The shopkeeper thanked him and then led Leng Ruoxue and the freak straight to the Heartless Garden. After several turns, the shopkeeper finally brought Leng Ruoxue and the freak to the Heartless Garden. Leng Ruoxue stood outside the Heartless Garden, looking at the obviously new board, her heart full of sarcasm. Alas, this was what men were like. Liking the new and hating the old should be the common problem of all men. Please enter. Miss Lung is still waiting for you. I'll take my leave. The shopkeeper turned and left after speaking. Leng Ruoxue and the freak walked directly into the Heartless Garden after seeing the shopkeeper leave. At this moment, hundreds of flowers were blooming in the Heartless Garden, and thousands of birds were chirping. It was the most beautiful time. The guards in the yard were abnormally tight, almost guarding every 3 steps and every 5 steps as if they were guarding something important. In the garden, Empty sat on the chair and played with the flowers in his hand in boredom. He was really depressed. Boo! He was actually imprisoned. Why weren't Little Snow and Little Chin Chin accompanying him yet? At this moment, Leng Ruoxue and the freak happened to walk in. They saw the depressed-looking Empty from afar. The two of them slowly approached. Miss, your servants are here, Leng Ruoxue said with a light smile. Damn girl, why are you only here now? Where did you two fool around? Tell me the truth. Upon hearing Leng Ruoxue's voice, he immediately roared furiously. These two baddies only cared about traveling and playing and left him alone with the 5 wolves. Ooh, bad people. Miss, calm down. How can you wrong us? We walk down on our legs, unlike you who has someone carrying you. Of course, you're faster than us. However, your speed is really extraordinary. Are we going to discuss marriage now? Leng Ruoxue teased with a light smile. Hee, they had successfully infiltrated the enemy's ranks. Even though it was a little different from her plan. Damn girl, you still dare to say that. It would have been better if she hadn't mentioned it, but now that she did, his anger rose immediately. What's the matter? Leng Ruoxue pretended to be stupid. Empty snorted coldly and turned his head to ignore them. My good miss, don't be angry with us. Leng Ruoxue coaxed softly. Shiner, aren't they already here? Why are you still angry? Suddenly, Yu Kun's voice sounded from beside the 3 of them. Yu Kun had already appeared not far behind them. Young Master Yu, help us persuade Miss. Miss is angry with us. She thinks we're too slow. Boo-hoo, Leng Ruoxue said aggrievedly with tears in her eyes. Hee, it's okay. Shiner was just worried about you guys. She got a scare on the way. Yu Kun said understandingly. By the way, Shiner, I know the whereabouts of the 10,000-year-old wild ginseng you wanted. It's the Yu family's treasure. Yu Tao even told us that he didn't know. How ridiculous. However, don't worry. I've already asked Father to help me ask for it from the Yu family. I think the Yu family won't dare to trample on my father, Yu Kun said confidently. He even began to fantasize in his heart that he was already the Lung family's quick son-in-law. Thank you for your trouble, Big Brother Kun. I'm tired and want to rest, Lung Wuxin said with a pale face. Is Sheener feeling unwell? Yu-kun asked worriedly. I'm alright. I'm just a little tired today and want to rest early, Lung Wuxin said weakly. Then Sheener should rest early. Big Brother Kun will visit you tomorrow, Yu-kun said very thoughtfully. Take care of Sheener. As for you, little Yao, don't go near Sheener. Yu-kun added before leaving. Yes, Lung Ruoxue and the freak quickly replied, laughing in their hearts. After Yu-kun left, Lung Ruoxue and the others entered the room. Miss, your charm is really too great. Lung Ruoxue turned her head and said with a light smile after closing the door. Swear, how much longer? I can't take it anymore. Empty said frantically. Bear with it. Be good. Aren't you doing well pretending to have amnesia? I'll pass quickly when you have nothing to do. Lung Ruoxue coaxed. I'm not pretending. I really want to lose my memory. Empty said with a long face. Ooh. He got in too deep with Lung Ruoxue. It doesn't matter if it's real or fake, as long as you hang in there. By the way, why were you suddenly taken to the Yu family's residence? Lung Ruoxue asked curiously. Qingju only told her that Empty had been taken to the Yu family's residence, but he didn't tell her why. Therefore, she really didn't understand why the decision was made so suddenly. Even though infiltrating the enemy was part of her plan, wasn't this a little too rushed? Didn't that little brat tell you? Empty glared at the freak and said with some displeasure. No. Why would I ask you if he told me? Lung Ruoxue said speechlessly. Alas. Was she mad? It's all his fault. Empty said through gritted teeth, his beautiful eyes shooting out raging flames. What does it have to do with me? Don't malign me. The freak raised his eyes slightly and said nonchalantly. Who else does it have to do with? Will I be brought here directly if it doesn't have to do with you? Empty roared. Those stinky brats would have died long ago if he wasn't afraid of ruining Schwer's plan. No, calm down. Tell me what happened. Lung Ruoxue quickly coaxed, her face full of question marks. Alas. So infuriating. Qingju kept her guessing, but Empty was hesitating as well. I was snatched here because of the old madam that the damn freak mentioned. They believed it, so the 5 of them fought. In the end, Yu-kun won, and he brought me here, Empty explained hesitantly, his expression very conflicted. Chapter 5:10. Suspicion, Scheme, Fun. That simple? Tell me about the fight. Lung Ruoxue said with a face full of gossip, her little face full of excitement. What's there to talk about in a fight? It's just a fight. However, I can tell you that the other 4 are seriously injured. Empty explained. Oh no. I think you're tired too. Rest early today. Lung Ruoxue sent Empty directly into the bracelet. Schwer, you also realize that he is a big light bulb, right? The freak said happily when he saw Lung Ruoxue losing everything. No, I'm afraid you will start fighting, Lung Ruoxue said lightly. Hee. Actually, she wanted to visit those families with the freak to see the commotion. Lung Ruoxue summoned Quill and Rise with a thought. Then she got Quill to cast an invisibility spell on them, and the 2 of them set off. Schwer, can't Qingju monitor them? Why do we have to go there personally? The freak asked in puzzlement on the way to the Ni family. That stinky brat has learned bad things. He didn't tell me anything fun, so I had to do it myself. Lung Ruoxue complained very displeased. Big sister, you wronged me. Qingju couldn't help transmitting his voice to complain when he heard Lung Ruoxue's complaint from the bracelet. Really? Then why didn't you tell me anything? Lung Ruoxue immediately questioned. Big sister, didn't I tell you that he was brought to the Yu family? Qingju said aggrievedly. What about everything in between? I'm asking about that. Lung Ruoxue said angrily. Boo. She would occasionally gossip. Damn, Qingju actually refused to satisfy her curiosity. In between, there's nothing to say. Didn't Big Sister always only want the result? Qingju pouted his little mouth, and his clear black eyes were full of tears as he sent a pitiful voice transmission. Ah. Lung Ruoxue was speechless. This became her own problem. Stinky Qingju, how dare you quibble? You didn't tell me when I asked you. Lung Ruoxue reacted and questioned. Big sister, I forgot what happened. Qingju said innocently. Forgot? You're an artifact spirit? Are you telling me that there's something wrong with your memory? Lung Ruoxue was helpless. Why did she only realize today that Qingju was so good at quibbling? Big sister, I have too many things to remember every day. There are also times when my head is full. Therefore, there's naturally no need to remember some unimportant things. Qingju said matter-of-factly. All right, Lung Ruoxue admitted defeat. She decided that she would treat Qingju as a computer from now on because Qingju would also overload. Big sister, are you angry with me? I'll tell you everything in the future, okay? After a while, seeing that Lung Ruoxue ignored him, Qingju said pitifully, its black eyes full of pleading. Boo! Big sister, don't ignore me. Big sister, Yukun went to the toilet just now and grabbed something to eat without washing his hands. Qingju continued with a smile. You don't have to tell me this. Lung Ruoxue's forehead was full of black lines. She couldn't bear it anymore and roared in her heart. Damn Qingju, he must have done it on purpose. Oh! Qingju covered his mouth and giggled. Hee hee, big sister is so cute. Qingju, continue monitoring them. Tell me if there's anything important. There's no need to say anything unimportant. Lung Ruoxue sighed softly and said helplessly. She cut off her connection with Qingju after speaking. What's the matter, Shuel? The freak asked in puzzlement when he heard Lung Ruoxue suddenly sigh. Nothing. I just had a chat with Qingju. That stinky brat deliberately pissed me off. Lung Ruoxue said helplessly. Hee hee, my Schwer is too cute, the freak said with some jealousy. Ah. Lung Ruoxue looked at the freak cautiously and thought, what a strong vinegar smell. Master, we're at Patriarch NIS residence, Quill reminded. Quill, just fly in, Lung Ruoxue ordered. They were invisible anyway, and no one in the NI family could see them. Yes. Quill flew in and searched with its X-ray vision after hearing Lung Ruoxue's instructions. Finally, it landed in a yard. Master, this is the main courtyard, Quill reminded. Okay. Lung Ruoxue nodded and jumped down from Quill's back. Lung Ruoxue looked up and sized up the NI family head's yard. She saw that there was nothing else in the huge main yard except for a few tall towering trees, a few stone tables and stone chairs. This patriarch of the NI family is quite low-key, Lung Ruoxue said in surprise. This yard doesn't look like someone who likes to be ostentatious, but who knows, the freak said nonchalantly. To be honest, he didn't have a good impression of the NI family because the waiter from the NI families in had threatened them when they first arrived in Myriad Mountain City. As the saying goes, like servant, like master. Someone's talking in the study. Let's go take a look. Lung Ruoxue vaguely heard voices coming from the study with the light on, so she suggested. Anyway, it was not the first time they were eavesdropping. Okay. The freak nodded slightly. The two of them and the two transmogrified little beasts quietly walked toward the study. In the study, the patriarch of the NI family sat at the head of the table with a worried expression. He was a middle-aged man in his 60s with handsome features and a strong aura. The power of the mystic sovereign gave him a domineering aura. The matriarch of the NI family was sitting in a chair beside him. She was about 40 years old. She was definitely a beauty when she was young, even though she was a little chubby and disheveled. A middle-aged man who looked like a butler was standing respectfully opposite them, waiting for instructions. Old master, that Yukun was too ruthless. He actually injured Fanger so badly. You have to uphold justice for Fanger. Madame and I wailed with snot and tears. Make a decision? How can I make a decision? The five of them actually fought on the streets for the sake of competing for a woman. Our NI family has been in Myriad Mountain City for so many years, and we've lost all our faces this time. The patriarch of the NI family said with a face full of anger, and he was even more furious in his heart. What kind of woman is so charming that they actually fought on the streets for her? Chapter 511. Suspicion, Scheme, 2. Old Master, I heard from Fanger that the woman is the daughter of the Lung family. Mrs. and I whispered. Lung family? Which Lung family? Patriarch and I was stunned. Which other Lung family is there on the boundless heaven continent? Madam and I rolled her eyes at her husband. Why would the daughter of the Lung family come to Myriad Mountain City? The patriarch of the Ni family's face was full of doubts and disbelief. The Lung family was one of the 3 major families on the boundless heaven continent. The ice city where the Lung family was located was hundreds of times stronger than the Myriad Mountain City. How could the Lung family let the daughter of their family come to Myriad Mountain City to suffer? One had to know that the standard of living in Myriad Mountain City was completely incomparable to the ice city. The only advantage was that Myriad Mountain City did not belong to any faction. Wrong, Myriad Mountain City was now in the hands of the 5 major factions. Why not? Madam and I asked in puzzlement. The Lung family loves and cares for their girls. They won't be allowed to suffer in Myriad Mountain City. Patriarch and I said after some thought. Old Master, that woman must be the daughter of the Lung family, Madam and I said with certainty. How are you so sure? Patriarch and I asked in puzzlement. Fanger told me. He said that the clothes Miss Lung wears and the food she eats are not something ordinary small families can afford. There are some things that he has never seen before, Madam and I said happily. If Fanger could become in-laws with the Lung family, then she would not have to worry for the rest of her life. Old Master, why would Fanger lie? Madam and I couldn't help asking when she saw the patriarch remain silent for a long time. Fanger won't lie, but that woman is in the Yu family now. This isn't easy to deal with. The patriarch of the Ni family's face was full of difficulties. It would be easy if it was in the other 3 families, but he couldn't force his way in the Yu family. Old Master, you've suffered for so many years. Why are you still so cowardly at this age? Madam and I said angrily. What do you know? The patriarch of the Ni family was about to say something, but he realized that he had misspoken and quickly stopped. Old Master, outside the study. Lung Ruoshua gently tugged at the freak's arm and whispered, Let's go. Schwer, they're still talking, the freak reminded her. He won't say any more. Let Qing Ju monitor him. Let's go back. Lung Ruoshua said after some thought. Aren't the other 3 going? The freak couldn't help asking. No, it should be about the same situation as here. Let's go back first. Lung Ruoshua said after some thought. Okay. The freak nodded, and the 2 of them sat on Quill's back. Soon, they returned to the Heartless Garden. After returning to the Heartless Garden, Lung Ruoshua directly brought the freak into the bracelet. Empty was sitting in the garden waiting for them. How was it? Did you obtain anything? Empty asked with a smile. I guess so. There seems to be some secret between the 5 great factions, but the patriarch of the Ni family refuses to say. Lung Ruoshua found a stone bench and sat down. There will definitely be secrets. I think it should be related to the complicated relationship between them, Empty said with a smile. No, do you know something? Lung Ruoshua asked doubtfully. I once heard that the ancestors of the 5 great factions were brothers of the opposite sex. Moreover, they seem to have left behind some last words before they died. However, only the patriarchs of the 5 families know the specifics, Wu Shu said after some thought. As far as I know, the conflicts between the 5 major forces are also very fierce. However, once someone dares to provoke any one of them, the other 4 families will face a common enemy, Lung Ruoshua said. She originally thought that the fights between the 5 major forces were for outsiders to see, but she later realized that she was wrong. The fights between the 5 major forces could sometimes be described as like fire and water, but the other forces could forget about challenging their authority. Could it be that in the eyes of the 5 major factions, even if they don't get along, it's an internal matter? However, if an outsider dares to provoke any of them, then it's not something they can tolerate? Like what Schwer said, We have to unite against the outsiders. The freak guessed. That's possible. Lung Ruoxue nodded in agreement. Schwer, if that's the case, it will be very difficult to make them fight among themselves. It's fine if it's a small fight, but they won't be stupid enough to hurt their foundation, right? The freak said worriedly. This will depend on Miss Wuxin's charm. Lung Ruoxue said with a light smile. Alas, she was really a great beauty. It would probably be difficult to refuse if she were a man, right? Damn girl, do you want me to sell my body again? Empty complained unhappily. Boo. He would definitely vomit after seeing those men for a few days. You don't have to sell your appearance. Someone will naturally start a fight for you as long as you sit there weakly. Lung Ruoxue teased with a light smile. Empty was really a disaster. Then I have to eat delicious food every day. Otherwise, I will go on strike, Empty said. Damn it, you're doing this again? Every day? The freak jumped to his feet, his pitch-black eyes glaring at Empty fiercely. What? Do you want to fight? You're currently not my match. Empty said with a light smile. That smug look was really asking for a beating. Damn it, just you wait. One day, I'll let you know how powerful I am. The freak suppressed his anger and said, Those who knew the truth were outstanding. He was indeed not this fellow's match now, but in the future. He would definitely beat this fellow until his teeth were all over the ground. Schwer, he threatened me. Empty pretended to be pitiful and looked at Lung Ruoxue with tears in his beautiful eyes. Serves you right. Who asked you to provoke him? Empty, be good so that I can plead for you in the future, understand? Lung Ruoxue said with a smile. With that, she pulled the angry freak out of the garden and returned to the purple bamboo hut to rest. The next morning, Lung Ruoxue and the others left the bracelet early and returned to the residence Yukun had arranged for them. In the room. Schwer, I haven't had enough sleep. Empty, who was forced to sit in front of the dressing table by Lung Ruoxue, said with great dissatisfaction. Chapter 5:12. Suspicion, Scheme, 3. Go ahead and sleep. When Yukun comes later, he'll say that Miss is still sleeping. I think he will be more interested in our Miss sleeping appearance, Lung Ruoxue said calmly. I'm scared of you. Make up for me while I sleep, Empty said helplessly and forced himself to stay awake. That's more like it. Lung Ruoxue took out the makeup she had prepared beforehand and began to apply it on Empty's face. In just 10 minutes, a drop-dead gorgeous beauty was born. Can I continue sleeping now? Lawless asked sleepily with his eyes closed. Go to sleep but be careful. Lung Ruoxue reminded. Okay. Empty nodded and then fell asleep on the bed. Lung Ruoxue shook her head helplessly and lowered the curtain for Empty. Soon after, she heard voices coming from outside the room and walked out. In the yard, the freak guarding the door stopped Yukun, who was about to enter, and stopped him very politely. I'm sorry, young master, you. Miss hasn't gotten up yet. Why isn't she up yet? Is she unwell? Yu Chuanjuan asked worriedly. Miss has always been weak, so she likes to sleep very much. She probably won't get up until noon, the freak said very calmly, the disgust in his black eyes flashing quickly. It's okay. I'm Zeiner's fiancé. I'm just going in to see her, Yukun said, unwilling to give up. He missed Shiner so much yesterday that he didn't sleep for the entire night. Coming here early in the morning, he would be unwilling if he couldn't see his beloved. Little Yao, let young Master Yu in. Lung Ruoxue, who had been hiding at the side and not making a sound, suppressed her smile. No, Miss is still sleeping. I have to be responsible for her reputation, the freak refused stubbornly. I'm your Miss Fiancé. Can I enter? Yukun said angrily, hating the obstruction of the freak. You said fiancé. Of course not, the freak said without giving him any face. Good, this is great. What a loyal servant. I'll send someone to ask for your young Miss hand in marriage now. Yukun gritted his teeth in hatred and swore in his heart that when he became Zeiner's husband, the first person he would deal with would be this servant who dared to contradict him. My young Miss betrothal gift must be 10,000-year-old wild ginseng. It won't do if you don't have it, the freak reminded loudly as he watched Yukun leave angrily. A freak, you're so bad. Lung Ruoxue walked to the freak's side and said with a light smile. Swear, I did it all for you. Boo. Now that I've offended Yukun, he will definitely take revenge on me. You have to protect me. The freak took the opportunity to act coquettishly, his bright black eyes full of desire and anticipation. Don't worry. He doesn't have time to take revenge on you now. He has to get some wild ginseng. Lung Ruoxue said in realization. That's only a matter of time. The freak's black eyes released countless careful hearts as he looked at Shuer lovingly. Don't worry. I'll protect you, Lung Ruoxue coaxed helplessly. That's more like it. The freak nodded with satisfaction and gently pulled Lung Ruoxue into his arms, praying silently in his heart. Shuer, I hope I can accompany you forever and witness your growth. Time passed quietly. When Empty walked out of the room, he saw Lung Ruoxue and the freak hugging each other on a stone chair by the flowerbed. The two of them looked so warm and sweet that Empty could not bear to disturb them. He stood rooted to the ground, unwilling to break the beautiful and peaceful scene in front of him, until Lung Ruoxue and the freak finally discovered his existence. Miss, why didn't you let me know when you came out? Lung Ruoxue teased while looking at the foolishly standing still. I just came out, Empty said awkwardly. He couldn't help but grumble in his heart. This heartless bad girl actually teased him. Would he have done this if he wasn't afraid that someone would be shy? His feet were about to go numb from standing. Boo! If he had known that he would have to stand for so long, he might as well have floated. What's the matter? Did you stand for too long? Lung Ruoxue said with a naughty smile. No, I think I sprained my ankle. Empty casually found an excuse. Oh, then quickly sit down. Lung Ruoxue didn't expose him and quickly said. Alas, she only knew today that energy bodies could also sprain their feet. She had learned new knowledge again. Okay. Empty was on the stone chair in the air above Lung Ruoxue and the freak, becoming a big light bulb. Miss, I have good news for you, the freak suddenly said with a mysterious expression. What good news? Unparalleled Bowtie's face was full of question marks. He didn't believe that this fellow would have any good news. Young master, you came while you were sleeping. He said he would send someone to propose marriage to you. The freak said happily. Is this considered good news? Empty asked angrily with a black face. Doesn't it count? The freak asked, his ugly face full of confusion. How is that possible? Empty roared furiously. All right, stop arguing. Empty, you should think about it this way. As long as Yukun obtains the wild ginseng, our plan will be halfway successful and you will soon be free, Lung Ruoxue reminded. Learn well. Shuer is better at talking than you. Empty glared at the freak. Of course. Shuer is my woman, the freak said proudly, his face full of pride. Look at how smug you are. Empty turned his head away from the man who almost made him vomit blood from anger. Shuer, I find that our young mistemper is really becoming worse, the freak said to Lung Ruoxue fearlessly. Damn freak, I won't let you go. Empty began fighting the freak. Shuer, save me. Someone wants to murder your husband. The freak dodged the attacks and didn't forget to ask for help. Lung Ruoxue looked at the two men chasing around the garden like children and couldn't help but be speechless. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.